Oh my God.
Howdy, folks, and welcome. It is
Oh God.
supposedly a snowy night in Kentucky, but it hasn't really snowed a whole lot.
No, I'm really disappointed by this weather. It's really been non-eventful.
I'm the Creepy Kentuckian.
I'm Uncle Bill. How you doing?
And this is our 2021 year in review show, Uncle Bill. Do you want to know how long we've been doing this?
You mean this particular show, or just doing this show?
This type of show.
God damn, probably from about almost the very beginning.
2005 year in review show was the very first Dead Pit episode. So it's come full circle.
2005. That is 17 years ago. Like.
So yeah, who would have thought, on that cold late December night in 2005, that 17 years later, we'd be broadcasting all the way live, baby, onto YouTube.
Jack Frost says he was born in 2005. Well, let me just say this, though. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, and there's a lot of other shows that have not been doing it for as long as we have. But it's a marathon. It ain't a race.
Yeah.
And we have persevered and come through this for almost 2 decades.
What you gonna do, brother? Mike B is in the house. We'll go through some names here. Garrett from Born2BeRad here on YouTube is going to be joining us here in a little bit. He's having some technical difficulties, baby, like that happens from time to time. But we'll get started with the 2021 year in review here in just a little bit. But we're kind of freestyling. Ken Carlson, what's going on? Kenny C, the Future Boy. Woo! He ain't the nature boy. He the future boy. Pop's Movie Dungeon is in the house. Pop's had a brand new shelf built, which I hope you know, Pop. That's a nice shelf. That's a real nice shelf. But if you keep buying movies the way you're buying them, you're going to need another shelf here in about 6 months, because I've done the same thing. Dylan Barnett, what's going on, dude?
I can't believe Dylan's still around, man. He's still hanging around.
It's Dylan.
That's awesome.
The Blair Witch fanatic himself. Brad, another Brad is in here. Old Curly Jaws and Duncan Productions. What's going on? John Cressup is in the Heezy. Almost 2 decades of Dead Pit. Almost. Right? 2 decades of terror. With about 5-year break there in between.
Yeah, it's fine. So, classic Uncle Bill quote from back then. Fuck Blu-ray, buddy. DVD is fine. I'll tell you another classic quote, too, from Dead Pit. Is stick a dick in your mouth and smile.
We can't get it on key, but,
That's true.
Wet Movie is in the house as well. What's going on? He is the wet one of YouTube, for sure. Chris V, hopefully 2 more decades to come. We need midweek obliteration from the old folks' home.
That'd probably be coming soon.
J7 Flesher, what's going on, dude? Jake Cortenhouse, saw the new Scream earlier today. Not the worst horror movie to start off a year. I guess it was okay, or he says it's all right. Facebook user is in the house. Hello, Facebook user.
That's one thing I fucking hate about this, though, is that you never get to know who these people are from Facebook.
I think with Facebook, if you're on the group page, you have to give Facebook permission to broadcast your name out to the masses. That's what the deal is. Wet Movie 1. The video quality is amazing tonight. I didn't change anything. I wish I knew how to change stuff.
I don't know. It's hit and miss for me. Like, I just move the lights around. They stay the same, but I just move them in different positions. So, it's the only difference today.
I hope, Wet Movie, I hope you're feeling a little bit better. He was down. I don't know if he had the COVID or what the deal was, but hopefully you're feeling better, dude. Manic Exorcism. Now, that's a blast from the past as well. That guy's been with us a long damn time. Good to see you, sir. Yeah, Pops, let me tell you something about shelves, man.
He's going to tell you something about shelves.
Shelves only go so far. And at some point, you just got to fucking you got to box some of this.
You got to go to tubs. You got to use tubs.
Yeah. Like, there's only so much wall space, baby. If I had a full finished basement that was the length of my entire house, I bet you anything I would still run out of wall space. What do you think, Uncle Bill?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I think I've got like 4 of the biggest totes you can buy filled with like DVDs in the garage because there's just no fucking... Like, I got all the Blu-rays in here, but there's no way I can keep the DVDs and the Blu-ray.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, and at some point in time, I would like to halfway organize this stuff, but I have a separate collection out in a storage building behind the house. And then I've got stuff stacked over here. I've got stuff stacked on another shelf that's kind of... Yeah, I need to clean up some of this stuff, to be honest with you. Manic Exorcism, I actually watched Antlers today in preparation for the review show. Well, it's not really a review show. It's a year in review show. So I'll talk about it a little bit later, but I think that is one that they made a few small mistakes on that cost them quite a bit of money, actually, and I'll talk about that too here in a little bit. Anthony, what's going on, dude?
Anthony Luzzi is the man.
So, old Curly Jaws is
that
Brian.
Is that Metal Man?
No, that's I don't know if he wants to give his full name, so I won't. But he is claiming his opinion that Scream 2022 is the best Scream movie. It's better than the original, Uncle Bill. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, I completely agree. I just think that is such a wonderful film. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it at some point. Not on this show, though. We're going to have to figure out a special time because Garrett has not seen it yet.
Right.
I got to see it early, a little bit early on the Thursday before. And you would think, typically in the horror heyday, I don't know if it's COVID, probably. But, there's nobody hardly there. There was maybe, 10, 12 people in the theater, aside from me and Sarah. So.
Here's the weird thing. I was fully expecting it, to be like that when we went, but it was fucking almost sold out. There was really... Yeah, there's probably, I would say, 7 or 8 seats left. It was completely packed.
So, does people just not realize that they do those screenings, or what?
Probably.
I mean, that's the... Basement Blues is he's a good example. I don't know if you have him on YouTube, but he's got an insane collection. Absolutely insane. Collects steelbooks and slipcovers and stuff like that. He has a pretty big space. It's way bigger than my space, and he's out of room too. So the thing about the collecting is you got to either consolidate somehow, put it in tubs, like Uncle Bill was saying, or just be a little bit more picky. For me, mainstream movies, most of the time, unless Black Friday, if there's a big sale or something like that, I'll only get the mainstream stuff on our digital Voodoo page. That's it. I won't, the collection's only mainly for genre stuff, I think, for me at this point.
If it hadn't been for me getting that giant, movie gallery shelf from you, I would have been completely screwed because that thing holds so many fucking discs and takes up such a little amount of room because it's so tall. That's the one thing that saved me, I think, for the living room anyway.
Manic Exorcism, again, he says it sure has. It's been a blast all these years. I know we've been in Ashland together at some point back when we were kids.
I guarantee you. I guarantee we have you.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. Are you from Ashland?
That was the place to go, and might still be the place to go for around here.
Oh, dude. Ashland back in the day, that mall was killer as far as old video game stores. And you remember Electronic Boutique? That was it's technically around as GameStop now. It was EB Games and then GameStop. But that was, I love that store.
Well, they had Huntington, Ashland at one time or another had a Sam Goodies in one of them. They had a God, what was the name of that store? It was overpriced as hell.
Kill the
there he goes.
baby. Well, he's getting his stuff together still.
Getting his shit together.
Flip us off when you're ready.
Can you hear me?
Then. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
No.
Oh, he's frozen.
He's lost somewhere.
Where in time?
Carter Derdention, though, it was kind of a weird year for horror, kind of. We were talking about this.
Suncoast. That's what it fucking was. I was trying to think of.
And they had Pied Piper in Ashland too. That was a killer music store.
That's where I remember Dad going there, like whenever he bought for like, drum wise or anything like that. That's always where he went.
Yo,
that place went out of business probably 10 years ago, I think, though, didn't it?
Yeah,
15 maybe. What's up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's up, boys?
Go on with all that shit.
Don't do that.
Everything going good?
No.
No.
Like, literally, I haven't been home in, like, a couple days, so I came down here to try to get everything, like, organized and try to create a little, some room. Then as I'm trying to sign on, it's like my internet was unplugged, and, then I had to figure out how to do that. And then all of a sudden, as soon as I logged in, it's like, your computer needs to be updated. It was like a big to-do. It's like everything that, could have held me back. But I'm here, and I'm not too prepared, but it'll be great to talk to you guys and everybody in the chat because I've been kind of MIA the last week or so.
Well, we haven't done any sort of live stream for a while. It's been a little bit, so
yeah.
It's good to get back on here. And this is kind of, I don't know how much preparation is involved in a show like this, but the chat is going to be integral in this show. Definitely want to get your guys' opinions and bring up titles and everything, because as far as the definitive list goes, whereas before when we did these shows, 2005 through, 2015 or whatever, when the last, it was like theatrical releases. And now, not everything comes out in theaters. It's like half of this stuff's on Netflix.
I can tell you that I went to one film in the theaters in 2021, and that was fucking Halloween. So that tells you anything.
Yeah, I only went to the theater once. I saw Ghostbusters. That's it. So
Halloween was the only one that I saw in the theaters. I believe so. Yeah. So but if anybody has any, we're going to be talking about physical releases as well. I know that Garrett and Uncle Bill are big toy collectors. If there's any NECA stuff that came out, I know there's one in particular that I wanted to bring up that I saw in person and I didn't buy. I probably should have bought it because I haven't seen it since.
I think I know what it is. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be talking about stuff like that as well, and anything that came out in 2021, be it horror movies, mainstream, whatever, TV shows. Let us know what you guys want to talk about, and we will talk about it.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'll tell you what I want to talk about, though.
Sure.
Well, that.
My dick demon. Y'all want to talk about my dick demon?
You still getting over the dick demon?
Here it comes.
Is that on the best list?
Here it comes.
That's one of his top toys of 2021.
This is how I'm going to do the, for the best and the worst. I'm going to give something 5 dick demons to 1 dick demon. And that's going to be my rating list.
Well, word on the street is that David Gregory and his mom got back from Pottery Barn. They've done like another dozen of these dick demons. So you can go on severinfilms.com. And if you missed out on the veiny dick demon goodness, it's available on Severin's website. Or last time I looked at this, could be sold out by now.
Yeah, I can just see them scrambling to get a bunch of like clay and shit or whatever they use, ceramic, together, like make a bunch of those if they sold out.
Carter Derdention, sorry for all the cringing you guys probably did during Tatane.
Well,
have you?
I haven't seen it, and which is funny because that's why I feel like I'm very unprepared for this, because when I looked at all the movies that came out this year, I'm like, man, I haven't seen anything. Like, I really have not seen like anything. And there was quite a bit of horror out this year. And I did watch a couple people's like best of videos, you know, for the year. And I'm like, okay, I saw like 2 of those movies, so I'm not going to be much help today. But Titane, I have that pre-ordered right now, and it said it's supposed to be at my house Tuesday, but I have not seen it otherwise.
I would have never, ever, ever probably heard of or watched that movie had it not been for him.
Well, that's gonna be on our review show. I actually haven't watched it yet either.
Listen, man, like I don't think, with maybe the exception of Fried Berry, you will see another film like that where you'll be like, what?
Well, when Carda recommends something, or we know it's going to be fun. Like House That Jack Built was one in particular, and then didn't he do the Fanatic? Wasn't that one of his too?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I think he requested the Fanatic.
Oh my God, like that guy's amazing. He's by far going to be the best in terms of like recommendations.
Yeah. Couple people mentioning Scream in here. Everybody's really putting Scream 5. You can call it Scream. You can call it 5. I prefer to call it 5 Cream. Because that was the original title. If they would have named the movie 5 Cream, I would have gotten that poster, Garrett. That would have got me over on getting that one sheet.
Yeah,
5 Cream is what it should have been.
I didn't see it, guys, so I tried to see it today. Didn't happen. Honestly, I'm going to do my best to stay away from spoilers unless people start...
No, we're not.
Not look at the chat over here. I'm going to try to avoid it. But I really don't know when I'm going to see it at this point. Maybe next weekend. And it's going to be hard to go through a whole week. I haven't watched any reviews, nothing. So I've actually not even watched the trailer for this movie. So I really am like going in completely blind.
Well, we're going to do a separate video. We haven't reviewed it yet or anything. We were thinking about doing an on-the-road video, but... we couldn't get together to do it, and I don't want to do any spoilers on this. We'll do like a separate video for that for sure.
Freddie,
it did well. $35 million this weekend. I would say that's a good number.
The only thing I've heard is that people seem to have liked it overall. Like, I mean, I've seen people say it's really good. I mean, as far as the sequel goes, in my opinion, I mean, I'm hoping it's the best one. I don't think it's got a lot to necessarily, it doesn't need to do a lot, I think, to be the best sequel, in my opinion. But I'm definitely curious,
Sorry, this guy over here said Scream 5 is better than Halloween. Now I know he's full of shit.
I'm trying to not look over in those things. I'm not trying to look
Oh,
we were talking
God.
about Suncoast Video a little bit earlier too. They were very overpriced. You're talking about $30 DVDs back in the day.
Oh yeah,
all day long. Danielle Harris is in here. What's going on, Danielle? She says that she hopes that Tony Moran is on our worst list.
I guess was that video made this year that he got all slack for? Oh,
I mean, it was compiled this year.
It was a compilation of his greatest like insults at conventions, but somebody did it this year. Yeah.
So he's on the worst list this year.
I'm just going through these chats here. Rob Zill is really putting over Halloween and Ghostbusters. Those are the one. I guess that's the ones that he saw in theaters. The best line of 2021. Did Michael kill again? Yeah, that's probably it.
I thought it was what's going on in y'all.
That was good too.
Yeah, that's a good line.
Phantasmat, big Titane fan here. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Titane.
Hello, let's go see Titane, Mom.
Titane.
Chris V. House on the Edge of the Park is one of the best releases of the year for me. That's from Severin.
Did it sell out?
Beautiful release. Looks like it is sold out. Well, it'll be back in stock soon. I can guarantee you.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Best YouTube commentator is either Scott Steiner or gay actor Michael Douglas.
I put my vote in for gay actor Michael Douglas.
Yeah, I actually think that maybe Tony Moran or Fat Rob Zombie.
Tony Moran's probably up there, I think.
Yeah. Fat Rob Zombie's great too. You got to admit.
We're going to just start. Do you think we should just go through some stuff that people mention on here and then just bring it up that way, or what do you guys want to do?
I think we should probably just get a topic and then maybe just start circling around and everybody just throw something out there that fits in the topic. And if the people in the chat have anything good to say, we'll jump in on it.
This was one that I wasn't even thinking about, was the Fear Street movies on Netflix.
That's on my list, actually. So I don't know if you want to start with movies that we would say, well, you know, some bests of movies that came out this year.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I broke mine down into, like, I picked 5 of the best that I thought and then 5 of the worst. So I don't know how to go about, like, I mean, not necessarily say to do it like that, but just like I know what's in the category. So if somebody just starts talking about them, then I kind of know where to go.
Why don't we just go? Why don't we start with movies and we'll go through? We'll each take turns saying what we thought was the best, and if it's on somebody else's list, then we'll chat about it for a little bit.
Well, I didn't do an actual list as best to worst or anything.
Well, you should have, motherfucker. But, you should come in here prepared.
All right. So
I don't like ranking shit though. Like
No, I didn't rank. I just wrote.
No, we didn't rank it.
I just wrote movies I liked, movies I didn't like, and that's it.
Okay.
All right. So I mean, you want me to start then and make it easy?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So if I had to say one of the best movies, I'm going to categorize this as a movie this year. I'm going to say my absolute favorite, if I look at my list here, is probably Midnight Mass. I think is probably my favorite that came out this year. And I know it's not necessarily a movie, but to me, it's just one long movie, and I thought it was fantastic. So I'm going to go out and throw that out there. I don't know if anybody else has seen it, nor you guys put this on your list at all.
That is my favorite of the year. By far, probably, actually. I thought that in terms of the way that it was acted, in terms of the script, in terms of, like, it's like a mini-series that, like, completely keeps you on the edge of your seat throughout the whole thing. And there's so many, like, plot twists in it where, like, characters, like, that you won't think something's going to happen to, like, it happens to them, like, without any kind of warning. And, like, it's just an amazing... That's an amazing series.
I was blown away from it. Just like you said it. It just, I could see a lot of people being like, oh, it's very slow, but I like that as long as the build and as long as the characters and stuff are good. And I think they did a really good job with that. And I thought it was pretty original.
There's 7 episodes, and I would say the first, about 4 or 5 episodes are all like kind of a build-up.
Yeah.
And then the last couple of episodes is absolute fucking insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, what in the hell? Now, the actor that played the priest.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
That is the most dead-on performance of a legit minister I've ever seen in a movie now. Yep. I mean, I was like, this guy, it's like he believes the stuff. I mean, it's not an act. You would think that he was really a Catholic priest or whatever.
I agree. He was probably the standout of the show. I saw somebody jump in the chat right here and says they haven't seen it, but what could you relate it to? And for whatever reason, I kept relating it, and I felt the tone to me was very Salem's Lot. And I don't know if you guys kind of felt the same way, but I feel like with Salem's Lot, it's similar with like that slow build. And my wife and I watched Midnight Mass, and we were on episode 4, and I said, how do you like it? She's like, oh, I like it. And I go, isn't it weird that we both really like this and like nothing's happened? You know, so I would say Salem's Lot in my opinion because it's long and it's very similar in tone, I feel like.
I think that it reminded me of like Salem's Lot mixed with towards the end, almost like The Mist, just because like you like everything separates into these different factions and then they start like, you know, like one thing starts to happen and like everybody starts to pair up into the factions and there's like, so, not to give it away, but they're trying to like, some are trying to escape, some are trying to like, you know, do this, and then the main lady in The Mist that was like the really religious one reminded me so much of like the woman who I cannot think of her character's name now.
Marcia Gay Harden.
Marcia Gay Harden, but the one in Midnight Mass is almost the same character basically, where she's just like super religious and like overly kind of like interprets the Bible.
I think the thing that works for it for me and Uncle Bill too, though, is this area is full of crazy religious people. Like, well,
it's full of like what would you call it, like
not
fundamentalist.
Not necessarily Catholic Church or anything, but like, I mean, we kind of get that from a lot of the characters, and that woman in particular. Like, we know people that's like that, you know. So that makes it a little bit more effective too.
But my God, though, it had a great cast. It had Annabeth Gish was in it. She played the doctor. She was great.
That's the
God.
first thing I'd seen her in forever. I thought she quit acting.
The woman that was, I cannot think of her name, but she was also in the Stephen King movie where she's tied up the whole time. She was great in that too. But she was the female lead in that.
She liked being tied up.
She was amazing. Gerald's Game. She was the lead in Gerald's Game. That was also on Netflix.
Yeah.
And she was amazing.
Well,
and I thought
the same director.
That's his wife, I think, I think that's the director's wife or girlfriend, because she was also in the other one, Hell House or whatever, Hill House. So she was in that as well.
So this is the guy that did The Haunting of Hill House, and he did Doctor Sleep. Wasn't that his movie too?
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, as far as effectiveness and just originality like this, I would put it right up there, man. I actually just finished watching it last night. I hadn't seen it yet, and I was just captivated by it. You know, I mean, it's 7 hours or so total, I think.
There's just so much to like about it. Like, almost everybody in that movie just nails their performances. And I love the fact that they never really defined what the creatures in the movie were. Like, you kind of get, like, nobody ever says that, though. Like, you kind of get the impression, like, what they are, but, like, nobody mentions it. So some people think they're, like, angels, and some people think they're whatever, monsters, but, like, I just think it's great that they never said any of that and just kind of left it open to interpretation, too.
The end of it as well was, I mean, I always like movies with endings like that for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I won't spoil it for anybody, but it is on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. And the thing that sucks about stuff like this, too, is like Netflix never comes out with this stuff on physical media at all. And I think that they should make exceptions from time to time, you know.
They did do Hill House, so maybe we have a chance with this one.
Did they do a Blu-ray up?
Yeah. But they didn't do, like, Gerald's Game or anything like that. But Hill House has a Blu-ray. I have it. So I guess we'll see. Blind Manor got a Blu-ray, too.
So,
Legend.
Yeah, I think we would all recommend Midnight Mass for sure. Daniel Harris.
There's no way you can't like that movie or whatever you call it.
She says, I go to Midnight Mass so Tony Moran can stop stalking me.
And leave me alone. He's in here too, by the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the chat that has not yet seen it. So yeah, guys, I know Freddie and Brendan mentioned they hadn't seen it yet, and I think Matt. So you guys,
and what's nice is it's on Netflix, so you can kind of just, you got more or less, if you have Netflix, you can just watch it. It's not like my issue with Scream is just finding time to get out there and do it, where if it was on streaming, I would have already watched it, you know. So it's very accessible, Midnight Masses.
Here's one that and I'll just go to this because I know that you guys probably wouldn't mention this. And I just watched this one the other night too. And Garrett mentioned Salem's Lot in this. And this definitely, the villain in this is definitely like an homage to Salem's Lot. And I'd kept hearing things about this. And it is, I think it's a Shudder original. Again, it didn't receive anything theatrically or anything. And I finally checked it out. It's called Jacob's Wife with Barbara Crampton and Larry Feasenton, who is, look at it. I don't know if you guys can see this. He is channeling Jack Nicholson, man. Look at that.
No doubt.
Yeah. So, have you guys, I know Garrett said he mentioned seeing some of this or whatever.
Yeah, I liked it. I put it on. It was like late at night. I bought the Blu-ray and I was into it, and then I fell asleep randomly because it was late, and then I just haven't gone back to finish it. But what I saw, I really enjoyed it.
So, but just the basic plot is Barbara Crampton and Larry Feasenton are a married couple. They're middle-aged. They're not really, you know, their life's kind of basic, and they're used to each other and everything like that. Something happens to Babs, and
fucking Babs.
which is kind of like a vampire type deal, we'll say. I mean, it's basically what it is. And it changes her personality and everything, and people start disappearing around the town, and blah, 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 blah. It's not the most original movie, but I thought it was a lot of fun, actually. And I've heard a few people mention it, and I would recommend you guys check it out. It's definitely one of the better movies that I've seen this year, newer movies, that is. Directed by Travis Stevens. And I'm actually going to do a review of this, more of an in-depth review coming up probably this week.
That's one that I've wanted to see, like, for a long time. People have been hyping that movie up for a while. It's like an independent kind of movie. I haven't watched it yet, but I probably will actually get around to watching that one. Not many films, but Barbara Crampton, when she's in something, like, for some reason, I'll just watch it.
There's some good gore in it, too, and makeup effects, and it's got some pretty shitty CGI, I got to be honest there, but it's an independent movie, so what do you expect?
She's kind of had a comeback. I mean, she was in You're Next, and then she's been in like a ton of independent horror films. Like, I mean, her name has gotten more out there in the last 5 years than I think it probably ever was since the 80s.
Yep.
Yeah,
no,
for
I
sure.
agree. She's definitely making a comeback, and yeah, I thought it was good. So what I have, and it's relatively cheap too. If you want to buy the Blu-ray, I think I bought it for like $12 on Amazon, so it's cheap.
Oh God, I actually forgot about that movie, Psycho Goreman. I didn't even have that. Didn't even cross my mind.
That's on my list.
Was that this year, or was that last year?
Was it 2021?
I think it's 2021. But if you guys want to talk about it, I put it on my list as one of my favorites from the year.
Yeah, it actually would be definitely up a high on mine too. Yeah.
Yeah, it actually was a while since I'd seen it. By the look of it, it didn't look like it was something I would enjoy. I saw like the cover, didn't really watch any trailers, and I was like, I've heard a little bit of hype about it, but I'm like, it doesn't seem like something I'd really be into. And then I just said, you know what, it was really cheap, I think around Black Friday, so I grabbed it, and I watched it not too long ago, and I thought it was great. I think the blend of comedy and gore and all that, like, it just worked. They did it well, and I thought it was just a real fun type of movie where you can add comedy to it, and it does a good job with it. And it kind of reminded me of The Guyver as far as, like, the effects and stuff like that with the monsters and stuff, and I love that movie. So I thought it was super cool. I thought they did a real good job with it. Very different if anybody hasn't seen it.
It's like, to me, it was like if you took Trauma, Full Moon, and Frank Henenlotter and like threw them all together in like a blender. That's kind of what that movie would remind you of. Like, right. It's so stupid and childish, but at the same time, like, so amazing. Like the gore and, like, you know, the whole character. There's two characters in that movie that really, like, kind of take the movie: the little girl and the actual, like, Psycho Goreman, which she names him that. But, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, those are the two best characters in the film, and almost like you could just watch the film based on those two characters. There's such great, like, dynamic and chemistry between the two of them. I think she was the best part. Like Chris V says, that little girl ruined it. I thought she was the best part. Like, she's not like a kid in the movie at all. Like, really. Like, she's definitely not an annoying kid.
I thought she was entertaining.
I actually have not seen that movie as of yet. I need to check it out.
I don't know how to explain it. I got one though. Somebody already somebody already mentioned it, but to me it was like one of the most surprising films, and I think besides like maybe the new Scream, probably like one of the most divisive films that came out in the entire year, which was Malignant. Yep. And if you look at 2021 as a whole now, I think I probably have more respect for that movie than I even did like back when I saw it. So it probably moves up further on my list just because, like, it was such a kind of like just bland year with just some, a lot of reboots and sequels and remakes and shit like that again. So for something like that to come out like from a mainstream studio, end up on HBO Max, and just be like one of the most batshit crazy things that you've seen, I mean, that's pretty astounding. I give them a lot of credit.
I think though, like, I don't know, is Warner Brothers doing the deal with HBO Max again this year, or do you know? Has anybody heard?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
I think that for a movie like Malignant, I think that hurt it. I mean, the fact that it was only on HBO Max. Typically, horror movies that are like that spread word of mouth or whatever, they do better in the box office. So
I think though that movie's kind of like it's got like a really small, like niche kind of group of people though. I don't know if that like would have done great in theaters though. I mean, if it was just in theaters, like I can imagine.
I don't know what to think because I mean, I think if they marketed it, like the man who created The Conjuring, like because I think maybe people would have gave it a chance, but I think a lot of people, I don't know of what they would have thought of it because I feel it's hard to say. Like, do I like The Conjuring and all that stuff? Yeah, sure I do. I'm not a huge crazy fan over it. Like, I haven't seen the new Conjuring, so I don't know if that's on anybody's list. But this movie, like, just totally hit me sideways, and I put that right on the top of my list for best horror movie of the year. If we're gonna, Midnight Mass and this were my two probably favorite watches in the horror genre this whole year, and it started a certain way, and all of a sudden just hit you sideways, and you were like, holy shit, like this is great. And in my opinion, it was, it wasn't super original, but it was original enough for something that to come out nowadays without being like a remake or a sequel or anything like that, or trying to grab, just name value. And I think they just killed it. I loved it.
I think that, I think it probably has the most memorable scene, and anybody that's seen the movie knows the scene that I'm talking about. Like, of any movie that came out in 2021, like, if I was thinking, like, what's, like, the most memorable thing that I've seen, that has to be it. Like, I mean, you can say whatever you want to about the movie as a whole, but just, like, it really takes a lot of balls to do something like that, coming from somebody that does, like, the Conjuring movies, and, like, it's completely, like, in that kind of, whatever, like, family horror. I don't know what you call that subgenre exactly, but, like, nothing like Malignant, I'll tell you that.
Right. I talked about with somebody before where it was kind of like he just makes so much money with all of his movies for Warner Brothers. Is that who puts it out? Warner usually puts out his stuff, yeah. That maybe they would just like, yeah, go do whatever you want. It's 2020, 2021, things are kind of wacky. Just go to do whatever. And it seemed like something he just kind of was like a passion project for him and just said, I'm going to throw something crazy together. It's going to be just totally out of the norm. And
it seems like something that he may have had in his back pocket for a while, and he finally got some free time in between, like Aquaman and Fast and the Furious 47 or whatever the hell he was doing. Right. And, because, like, when it comes to horror movies, man, like, 9 times out of 10, James Wan's stuff's always fucking killer. Like, I mean, not the biggest fan of the Saw movies, really, although he only did what did he direct, the first 2?
First one.
I can't even remember.
Did he do the second one? I think he just did the first one, didn't he?
I think the first, but maybe he did the second. I'm not sure. People in the chat would probably know.
Yeah, it's either Lee Winnell or Darren Lynn Boozman, one of them fuckers.
But all his stuff is pretty great, really. I mean, Death Sentence, Dead Silence, Conjuring, all that stuff. Can't go wrong.
I don't know. I give him a lot of props. I mean, he totally ripped off that plot. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't know exactly what he ripped it off from. It could have been,
Basket Case.
Basket Case. It could have been, there's like several movies that are like almost identical to that one. But
I kind of like that Giallo character there. That kind of had that a little bit of a feel to it. I thought that was cool to have that in there as well with the cloak and the black gloves and stuff.
Well, Steve absolutely loved it. Malignant was like his favorite movie of the year, I'm thinking.
I mean,
and I don't know if it was just because of that or what the deal was, but I mean, anything James Wan horror related is always going to earn a watch for me pretty quick after it comes out. Malignant, again, it was kind of a on the down low release, which I think kind of sucked, but it is in time of COVID, right? So what can you do? But yeah, you can't go wrong there.
So I'm trying to think though. Like I've got another one, but I don't know if you all have seen it. So I'll just wait and go around the Daniel Harrison's smelly twats on here now. So we can take some questions from them.
Wes, do you have anything?
She enjoyed Saint Maud.
That's actually on my watch list right now. So I've heard really good things about it, but haven't seen it. I had bought the Blu-ray on last week or something. It was pretty cheap, and it's definitely on one of them I want to check out soon.
Some other stuff that I enjoyed. I mean, I guess I could put over Wrong Turn. I finally watched it recently as well.
That was another one that was going to be on mine, yeah.
There's a couple of aspects I think hurt this movie. The number one is calling it Wrong Turn.
I agree.
Yep. It's not a wrong turn movie, but I think that's actually what kind of made it work for me, is because I was sitting down to watch it like, all right, like here we go. It's going to be some fucking like, you know, the three finger guys are going to come in, split somebody in half, then they're going to like, you know, be a bunch of goofy shit. Yeah. But no, like it completely like takes a 180 right in the middle of the film, and I'm like, as I was watching it, there's not many times I get surprised, but I was watching it and I was like, what in the hell? Like, this is not anything like I expected it to be at all, which is a good thing considering how stale things usually are.
Yeah,
I'm wondering though, why did they choose to name it Wrong Turn? Like that just,
I guess for just the money aspect of it, because they knew it had like a.
I heard that that film came to them. This is just what I heard, is that they came to them and they, you know how sometimes companies need to make movies in a certain amount of time or they lose the title?
Yeah, that's happened a bunch.
They did that because they were like, okay, this movie looks good, but we're going to lose the Wrong Turn license, so let's just throw this up on here. And because it was so different, they didn't call it like Wrong Turn 8. They just like tried to like reboot it or whatever. And that's what I heard. It was kind of one of those situations where a movie came across their desk and they needed to get Wrong Turn's licensing or whatever. So
it's almost like though it was made using, not thinking they were going to call it Wrong Turn.
Agree, and that's what I think exactly
because
happened.
There's no relation character wise or anything in the, was it called the Foundation, the group that they were. I don't want to give it away, but
I think sometimes too what they'll do is they'll take a movie that they already made that, you know, is just a movie that had nothing to do with the Wrong Turn franchise. But like you said, if they need to make a Wrong Turn movie, they'll just slap the fucking Wrong Turn moniker on it, even though it was a movie that had nothing to do with it beforehand. And I can totally see that being the case.
And it felt that way too. It felt that way, like you guys said. And what's really funny about this one is that not many people are talking about it or have talked about it. And if they do, I feel like we're in the minority of the people that actually liked it. And which is crazy because honestly, like I feel, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like when it comes to movies, like especially in the horror genre, especially current, I am picky as hell. And I feel like you guys are pretty picky too.
I don't think anybody's as picky as I am, but
the fact that we all kind of agree on it, and I actually saw something from my buddy who works over at Bloody Disgusting posted like his top 10 favorite horror movies of the year, and that was on there. And I messaged him and I said, "Wow, I'm surprised you said that because I haven't." And he goes, "Yeah, I really liked it." And I'm surprised you get that we all agree on that because I feel like that's not the norm on this movie itself, which is just
I think at this point though, any movie that comes along that's a remake or a sequel or anything like that, or a reboot, where it actually like surprises me in a good way, like I will give that movie props, because most of the time you know exactly what's going to happen in these movies, like to a T.
There was some crazy, gruesome shit in this movie too, which I was kind of surprised at. You know, I wasn't expecting. But yeah, I mean, it would be a high recommendation for me, for sure. I know Dylan's mentioned it. Is it on Netflix? I don't know if it's on Netflix.
I don't think so.
I can tell you though, Walmart has the Blu-ray now for $7.50. If you want to pick it up on the cheap, that's where I got it. So yeah, that's different. That was a good one. Well acted too. The cast was really good in it. Matthew Modine, they dug him up. So I don't know where the hell he was at.
It was a lot better movie than it had any right to be, like from the title.
So I can throw one out. I don't think you guys saw it, but I'll throw it out there. It's not horror. I think Ghostbusters Afterlife is definitely on my top favorites of the year. I liked it a lot. I thought it was better than I expected it to be, and I think it was one of those things where only movie I saw in the theater this year, and I went with like three buddies of mine and one of my buddy's wife. And all of a sudden, when one of my buddies looks over at me and he says, "Dude, do you feel like you're gonna cry?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, me too." And then we look over and like my other buddy and his wife are like in bawling in tears, and I'm like, "Wow, what an odd movie to make like 40-year-old men like feel like they want to cry." Like literally, dude, I shit you not. Like I literally was sitting in the theater and I was like holding back like emotions, and I'm like, I don't remember the last time I felt this way is when my son was born. Like.
God damn, Garrett.
3 years ago. I swear.
This movie must have been insane.
I mean, I'm not that like emotional.
Quite a bit.
I'm not an emotional person at all, and that's what was really funny. I was thinking to myself, like, wow, like, and when a movie can do that to me, and it can be even horror, like, and this is so weird too. I say this all the time, like that movie Signs. When I saw that movie, and still this day, when that damn alien walks across the screen, I like literally the first time I saw that had like chills going up and down my spine. I don't know why. It's freaking Signs, right? But like, there's certain things that if I can get some kind of emotional response out of it, I really fall in love with it. And Ghostbusters is one on an emotional level for me. And if you're a real big Ghostbusters fan, I recommend it. But if you're kind of just like Ghostbusters is okay, you might not like it. I mean, there's I don't know. A lot of people said it was a very nostalgia heavy, and to me it worked. But that was my next pick.
I go into everything thinking it's going to be bad, and that way sometimes there'll be like there'll be a couple that are actually okay, and I'm like, okay. You know.
I agree. I really don't go into a lot of movies with high hopes, and because I've always been disappointed. And I don't know if it's the WWE in me that like hates trying to like wish that hope that something's going to be good and get disappointed, but. I'm the same way, and I'm at a point now where I don't really watch trailers unless it's like, a Vinegar Syndrome says they're releasing something, and I'm like, oh, let me check that out before I spend the money on it, right? But all these new movies, like I rarely watch trailers at all, and that could be good or bad, but I don't know why it is. I don't know, but with Ghostbusters as well, like I didn't watch a trailer for it, so I went into it pretty blind.
I need to see that movie. I've yet to watch it.
You can rent it, I think, now or whatever. It's on Vudu. So I'm waiting until somebody sends me the code for it. Somebody will send me the code. I'll watch it that way. I'm not going to. I mean, I like Ghostbusters. I like the first two. I never did watch the one from what was it, the women Ghostbusters or whatever.
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh, that movie's awesome. That's one of my favorites.
I bet.
Fucking Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even care who's in it. It just was bad, and it wasn't funny. It was like forced funny, and that's not my humor.
I mean, I kind of feel like after that movie, anything would have been better. Like literally anything.
And I know people will give it a big stink about the box set not including that installment, which again it shouldn't, because number one, it's not called Ghostbusters 3. It's called something else, and it has no relation to the whole other movies. So if you take 1, 2, and then this one comes after it, like the new one, and that box set makes sense. If you just throw another one in there that has nothing to do with the storyline, then I feel like why should it be in that box set? I'm not saying it because it's women or whatever. It's just it doesn't match that story. It has nothing to do with it. So I know that was a little bit of a thing going on, but 1, 2, and 4, and the new one or whatever, 1, 2, and Afterlife, I'm down. Already pre-ordered that thing.
This is going to come up later though, but
Woke Busters, is that a thing or no?
Yeah, Joe Bob Tarhill throws a word out there that's going to come up much later when we do the worst. When we do the worst of 2021.
Yeah.
Holy
well, it ain't going to be
shit.
much later. I don't have much anything else that I like this year.
Yeah, I've only got 2 more.
There's one that I know that neither one of you all have seen, so you all go ahead, and I only have one more, I think.
All right. I mean, someone mentioned Fear Street, so I put that on my
That was one of mine. Uh-oh.
Oh, hell.
Oh, no.
Is it me or you guys? Shoot.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
You're back.
Oh, no. My phone better not be dying on me.
Your phone's right down.
So, I have Fear Street on mine, and I also had what else did I have? Oh, this is one that's going to be a controversy. I put Halloween Kills on mine. So, I know that's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I liked it. I can't say for the movies I saw in 2021, that was a highlight for me. I think it was fine. I know I'm in the minority on that one too, but for what it was, I mean, I thought it was good. And that's my list.
Fear Street was, we'll talk about that one first for a second. I think that was the biggest surprise that I had, that they could actually make a Goosebumps, franchise, and make it when I think of Goosebumps, I was expecting like Jack Black Goosebumps, right? Like that's kind of like the precursor that I had in my mind, that it was going to be like, kind of just campy. But those fucking movies were like, all of them were just insanely gory and violent and teenagers, which I thought they did a pretty good job in the 78 one, especially with like making kind of realistic teenagers and kids and things like that. And just incredibly like with a good story, I thought, that went all the way through like all those movies, except for maybe the 1600s one. I don't remember the exact date. That one was kind of like take it or leave it. But the 90s and the 70s one I thought was great.
The 90s one, I kind of dug the first half of it, and then it was one of those movies where I was like, God, how much fucking time's left on this? Like I wasn't like, it built me up to a point, and then after that point I was like, let's just turn this shit off, and I never did watch the other two. So I hear the 70s one is good. I may check it out at some point.
Yeah, I think the 70s one is probably the best. I mean, I don't know. If you're from the era that we are, it's probably kind of the best one, because it's very similar to like a Friday the 13th film. Mm-hmm. But the Boba Fett's, sorry, we already talked about Midnight Mass, so
yeah,
we got that one.
That was like the first thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's all I had for like top. There was a lot of other ones I saw that were pretty good, like 8-Bit Christmas I saw, that I thought that was all right. That was a pretty cool little movie. But I just put those as my best, and like I said, there's a lot this year that I haven't seen, so that it kind of sucks that I can't throw more.
I think that the big one that none of us have seen is Last Night in Soho. I tried my best to get a hold of it to watch, but the technical difficulties and stuff like that, it didn't work out. So
yeah, I tried to watch it too, and it was just pissing me off.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
But that one's coming out here in a couple of weeks, I think. So hopefully we'll mention it on a future show or something, because I do want to see it.
The only one that I had that nobody mentioned, and I'm pretty sure this came out in 2021, and I know this is an odd choice, but Willy's Wonderland. Did you see that by any chance? Either one of you?
Nicolas Cage?
I did not, no.
Listen, like, it's probably the simplest film of any other that we've talked about, in the fact that like it's just like the main character in it, Nicolas Cage, doesn't talk at all. He has no dialogue in the entire movie. It's just about a guy. It's just about a guy that goes into like Willy's Wonderland, which is like a fucking rip off of what was the name of it back in the day?
Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese or
Showbiz Pizza.
Billy Bob's Wonderland, all that stuff. And he goes in there. He is supposed to be the janitor, and they convince him, like, his car breaks down, they convince him to work there for a night, and they'll pay back his car. And like while he's in there being the janitor, all the animatronics come to life and like one by one try to kill him. And it's just him trying to fight through like each one of the animatronics. But I don't know why I've gone back to that movie. Probably watched it 10 times. It's just so fucking stupid, but his performance is so great. Like, I recommend it.
Isn't it funny?
Highly.
Like, Nicolas Cage has got all these genre movies that almost on a couple every year that people really like put over and stuff. And this guy was like upper echelon of Hollywood, like in the 90s. So, but for those that don't know, the Showbiz Pizza Billy Bob Wonderland thing, right? One of only 2 in the entire country that's active is like an hour away from me and Uncle Bill. Like these animatronic bands and all this bullshit.
And I've been to it within the last year, by the way. Took the kids down there.
Yeah.
That's a video right there.
Yeah.
Freddie mentioned Fried Barry. We should probably put it over a little bit. I mean, I would say it was on the It was 2021. I would put that on the good side of things.
I didn't even think about it for some reason. I guess we had watched it like recently, but yeah, I agree. Like that'd be way up there too.
Great performance.
Wow, I hear good things about it, but I haven't checked it out yet.
Oh, Garrett, you would love the music in it. Like the music, you would mark the hell out for that. Like a synth rock type deal, and
coming my way then.
Yeah, just the way it's shot. And it's funny. It's got a little bit of everything in it. Got gore sequences, I think, and
it's on Shudder, I think, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was a Shudder original. The last one that I wanted to mention on here, though, is one that I actually just watched it today. Right, I've been trying to catch up on these movies, and this one just came out, like I think theatrically around the same time as Halloween Kills. And went under the radar a little bit. I think it was theatrical. Didn't do very well. And that is a little movie named Antlers, Uncle Bill. With a movie by the name of Antlers, who would have ever thought it would not have done well?
With a name like Smuckers, it's got to be good.
It's like there's like a mythical beast that has invaded this small little mining town or whatever. It looks like it's shot in fucking Ashland, Kentucky. Like, I think it was shot in Canada. Carrie Russell, who is one of Uncle Bill's favorites, Felicity back in the day. I know that he's a big fan of that show. She's a star in it, oddly enough, right? And
Carrie Russell is the star of this fucking movie.
I guess. I don't know. She's like one of the leads. Awesome. Fucking awesome makeup effects. Unreal. Like some of the shit that's in this will freak you the fuck out. And just the way it's shot, very well made. The director is Scott Cooper, who I knew that name sounded familiar. He actually directed Crazy Heart and Black Mass a few years ago, and Hostiles. So he's done a few mainstream movies. This is his first horror movie, per se. But I thought, I mean, it's another slow build type deal. But without giving hardly anything away in it, check it out. It just came out, I think. Somebody hooked me up with the digital code. If you like slow build movies, I think Garrett will really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm going to put it on my list right now. It's actually been on my list for a while because I keep hearing great things about it. I told you why I hadn't already purchased it because I wasn't sure if it was like subtitled, and I have real bad like issues like keeping myself focused. I'm trying to do like 100 things at once all the time. So when things are subtitled, like I miss so much because I'm like trying to do 100 different things. But
no, I mean it starts. Down. I don't know if you might have started trying to watch it because it starts with like some sort of subtitled thing in some weird. I don't know if it's Norwegian or what the hell the language is. But that's just the very beginning of it. And then it's all, it's English. I think it's shot in Canada. But yeah, I mean, it's, I think the creature in it is like, they call it a Wendigo. It's like a Native American legend or whatever. That's like half deer or whatever. It's kind of odd, but, I liked it. I mean, I thought it was for 2021 movie. It's pretty decent.
All right, I'll give it a watch.
See too. So I guess we move on to the worst now, don't we?
Worst movies? Okay.
That's going to take a while.
I can just say that. No, you know what's funny? I didn't watch enough because I'm looking through like all the movies that came out, and I'm like, I'm trying to find ones that I absolutely just didn't like, and I only have 3 here.
Well, do you want to go through some comments before we get into the worst and see what people have been saying?
Yeah, that's fine.
Adam 80s fans excited about a new Caleb Perkins film that's coming out.
Easy. God.
I started some comments here. Let's see. Freddie says that Malignant was his top horror film of 2021. Yep. We're going to be talking about the worst of Brad here in a second. He was asking if Uncle Bill thought Halloween Kills was worse than Rob Zombie's Halloween.
No. I don't think that there's many experiences I've ever had in a theater that was worse than that. So,
Rob Zilla says that Last Night in Soho is pretty awesome. I'm sure that I'll like it, but I didn't have a way of seeing it, unfortunately. It came out at a weird time. Oh, God. And we'll talk about it. We haven't seen any of
Listen.
I didn't know that they made a new Paranormal Activity movie. I saw that when I was looking up stuff today. When the hell did that come out?
It came out like recent. Like I think it came out maybe like within the last like 2 months. I didn't see it either, but
No, I didn't see anything on it at all.
There's two, and somebody else mentioned another one of these two. There's two franchises that they need to fucking stop, and The Purge is one of them.
Yeah.
All these fucking Purge movies.
Yeah, there was a Purge movie this year too, right?
I didn't see it.
I'm pretty sure that they could stop the Conjuring movies now and Paranormal Activity. Like, they could get rid of all that, and nobody would care.
Adam 80s fans asking if we would do a commentary over New Jack versus Mass Transit.
Killer.
Man, you know what? Like that. Sure, we lived it, right? So I remember when that was on.
I would be down. The only thing is it on YouTube. If it's not on YouTube, they'll flag it. I'm almost positive. That'd be the only issue, unless we did it elsewhere. I think Patreon is changing things. So
I'm about like Garrett, though. I remember exactly kind of when that came out because it was such a huge controversy and all that, and like watching it for the first time and kind of getting sick because it was just so like you'd never really seen anything like that in wrestling anyway, like that.
No, I mean that was some pretty sick stuff. That was one of because it was the only thing that I can recall that was similar to that was who is the senator that blew his brains out on
Bud Dwyer was the guy's name. Okay.
That's the only other video footage that I ever saw where blood literally poured out of somebody like that.
Yeah.
So the mass transit guy, he's lucky that he lived, I think. I think he would have by watching that footage alone, you would have think that he would have bled to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was really nothing else kind of like that. And we could do a whole thing on just like wrestling mishap videos,
There's certain things I'm not watching again though. Sid breaking his leg, I'm not watching that again.
I'm not watching that.
No.
No, me either. No, definitely not.
No. I would do anything for views, but I won't do that.
That's one of the fucking worst.
Yeah, I saw that live too, and I was like, they're showing fucking replays of it. Why?
Yeah.
All right, so some of the worst of 2021. What you guys got?
I've only got 3. I'll start with one, and I think it came out real early in the year. I hope it was this year. Maybe 2020 and 2021, man, are like combined for me. I don't know what the hell happened. Army of the Dead, I thought was brutal. Yeah,
that was on that was on my list of worst.
Yeah, that was so disappointing for me. I thought that was hot garbage. There's nothing about it I liked. So, and it's been a long time since I've seen it, and I'll never watch that again. So, Army of the Dead is the first one on my list.
It was as if, like, Uwe Boll came back and made another fucking movie. That's what it reminded me of. Like, he made another, like, House of the Dead or something like that. Like, just like a video game with all the quick hyper editing and just no characters that you gave a shit about, no character development whatsoever, and stupid shit too.
Wasn't it like 2.5 hours long? It was like crazy long.
It was really long, considering.
Just like the thing with the female zombies that had like it was like a psychic link or something to just fucking horrible.
I think
it was this year, right? It was this year that this came out.
Oh yeah, it was like in the. I think it was in spring or something.
Was it? Okay.
It's pretty horrible. I think the cast in it was pretty awful too. Aside from Batista, probably did the best job of anybody in that whole damn movie, but everybody else was like.
And the thing about it was like one of the most watched Netflix movies ever. It's like one of the biggest pieces of shit.
I think people are just big into zombies and stuff and they don't really do a whole lot of zombie stuff anymore. Aside from, I guess, The Walking Dead is still on. I don't even know. But yeah, there's a big fan base.
It's still on, unfortunately.
That sort of thing, and that hasn't translated to major like theatrical movies or anything, really. I mean, which is kind of weird.
No, man.
Yeah, and I wish I could give more on this list, but again, there was 3 that I just remembered really pissed me off because it went to the same reason that I don't like to watch trailers, because when I do and I get hyped up about something, and at least 2 of the 3 of these really disappointed me, and I do wish I watched more this year. And I was even talking to Freddie earlier. I had a couple that we didn't mention, and maybe you guys had seen them. But that was The Quiet Place 2. I have it. I've never watched it. And it was like, I was like, oh, I'm going to watch that last night to get ready for the show. And instead I found myself watching What About Bob for like the 50th time in my life. Like,
God.
that's just what I do. Like when I have stuff I need to watch, it's like I always resort back to like what I know is going to entertain me, not like something where it's like a 50-50 shot if I'm going to like it or not. And I think that's a lot of my problem was when these new movies come out, I could watch them, but I'm like, I'll go watch Ninja Turtles from 1990 instead. Like,
I mean, I got to be honest. That's very similar to me too. Watch the original like 3 Scream movies 100 fucking times, and like I'll still watch them, today before I'll watch something new. It's just weird. Like you get into a habit of watching certain things.
Well, I will say this: I did watch all the Screams these last 2 weeks, so that is something I did do. I watched all 4.
Well, now we're gonna have to rank them whenever you see the new one. We got to be trendy.
I can already tell you. I can call my ranking right now. I bet it's going to be the first one, the new one, part 2, part 4, part 2, part 3. That's going to be mine.
I shit you not when I say this. To me, that series is ranked exactly how it came out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my rank.
No.
That's my fucking rank.
We don't want to give too much away now. We'll be doing we are doing a full video of some sort on this new Scream 22, or I prefer to call it 5 Cream. But
5 Cream is, yeah.
Yeah, Army of the Dead, definitely a piece of shit. Another piece of shit that I just watched recently. We were hinting at it earlier.
Preach it.
It's the new Candyman, Candyman 4, Candyman versus white people.
Yep. That is on my list too, and that was it. Wow, I'm surprised. So Uncle Bill, is that on your list?
That's my number 1. If I had to pick one movie of the whole fucking year, where even like above Halloween Kills, which I fucking hated, or anything that I saw, like that is the one movie where I was like, what a waste of like that time and people's time and just political correct, woke, just nauseatingly bad film. Like I don't know how anybody have to be. I don't know. I mean, at this point, it really does people's taste in movies, but I just don't understand, just from an entertainment perspective, how you would like that movie. Because in that fucking movie, through the whole thing, like it's just a series of the guy's arms rotting off. He's having a couple of different visions. Candyman himself, whatever you want to say, is not really in it. Maybe like 2 or 3 scenes that's like prevalent in it. Candyman! Now you're gonna die.
Fuck you, Candyman.
Now you're gonna get arrested. Or whatever
I can piggyback off
happens
that,
now.
Real quick, before I piggyback off that, was Uncle Bill stuttering for you at all when he was talking, or no?
Yeah, I think it's like an internet. He's got that tin can internet. Martin.
No. I just want to make sure it's not my phone dying. So here's the deal: if my phone, whatever reason, dies tonight, just continue the show without me. I'll be done, because this place is a disaster, and it was on like 60%, so I don't think it should die. But I didn't know if it was just my phone telling me things were going wrong here. Anyway, I piggyback off that, man, and it goes back to what I said earlier: is that I'm very picky when it comes with movies, and I feel like you guys are too. And the fact that all 3 of us are gonna put this on the worst list and right up at the top. Granted, again, I only have 3 on my list because I didn't watch that many. I feel like we're in the minority, to be honest, with this movie, because I have another friend, Justin, who bashed this movie on a video and got a lot of hate for it, like real bad hate.
That's because he's racist. He's supposed to like it.
Well, that's what a lot of the hate was that. And I was actually, this movie is probably one of the movies that I was most excited for. I thought the trailer looked fantastic, and I remember saying to people, like, I was more excited for this than I was for Halloween Kills, because, and granted, what anybody else says is, I actually enjoy the Jordan Peele stuff. I know he didn't directly do this one, but I know he was somewhat involved. So, I mean, I liked Us a lot. I liked Get Out. And you know what? There could be some social commentary in those movies too, but it's subtle, and you as the viewer can make up your own mind on like what they're trying to say or what you feel like is happening. But this was like, you just got bashed in the head with it over and over and over again, where it got to a point where it was nauseating in the sense where I'm like, I don't want to watch this anymore. Like, it's just, it was like, I thought the actor did well. I thought the guy did well, but I thought just the whole message in the movie that they were trying to show took away from what that movie had the ability to be. That really sours me, because I feel like that's what this what's going to happen going forward? Because if it is, man, What About Bob sounds like I'm going to be watching that a lot more than I'm going to be watching a lot of this new stuff, because I can't do it, man. I can't.
I hate the idea that nowadays in these movies, like, you have to have, it's as formulaic, like the stuff that they're protesting against, which is, you know, like not having representation and things. Now it's like they have their own formula where you have to have like a certain amount of minority characters. You have to have a certain amount of political correct, like woke kind of storytelling. It's like, it's becoming as much a formula now to try to shoehorn shit into these movies that does not belong in them. And you can tell, like, it doesn't fit anywhere. It's just like they needed, you know, a character, like this type of character and this type of character and this type of character. And, you know, then the cops have to beat the shit out of somebody. It's like, none of that had anything to do with anything.
And I understand, like, Candyman, the original one, had a little bit of that in there, but it was subtle, and you had to think about it, and then you had to come up with your own decision to be like, oh yeah, you know, I kind of see how, but it wasn't force-fed. And you're right, like, the problem is like, there's a formula now, and when they have a formula like this, sadly enough, I feel like it makes people look at a situation that they wouldn't have looked at before if they knew that it wasn't a formula that they were trying to push, right? Like, and that's where I find that we might be running into some problems when it comes to how Hollywood's going to make movies going forward, and it's tough to say that.
Well, there's a lot of things that we said back in the day on the original Dead Pit show that you just can't say. You can't say it now. We'll never say that shit again. You can't. Not that we were meaning to be offensive or anything like that. The world was different then. The world today, some of this shit I cannot just sit back and just not say anything about it. And this is one of those movies. Not even talking about the social commentary or whatever they want to call it. Jordan Peele's bullshit is what I prefer to call it. The movie was boring. It was just a boring fucking movie too. Like, I'm sorry, you can't do wide fucking angle shots and hit a bass note for 45 seconds 18 fucking times in a movie. I mean, that doesn't create shit for me, you know. I just thought it was really, I mean, I watched the whole thing. It was not the easiest watch. I think it was 3 different days I watched it. I thought it was just boring. You know, and I'm not a big Candyman fan anyway. I'm not a big fan of the original Candyman movie, to be honest. But I'm with Garrett in that the trailer for it looked really good. It looked promising, man. And some of the visual style in it, you know, with the paper puppets and stuff like that, that was creative, right? But it's a movie that I'll never, ever, 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 ever watch again. I don't know if I would buy it for $1 at Goodwill if I saw it, to be honest with you. And I bought a lot of shit at the Goodwill for $1.
I think that, yeah, the key to a lot of this, though, is you can make movies like that. I mean, and I actually really liked, for instance, like Get Out. I thought that was a great movie because it's like, it's a movie about that. It's about like racism, but it doesn't like come out and just like bash it into your skull like you were saying. Like, it's just a homemade film. And the one thing that above anything else that I hated about the new Candyman was it's a boring fucking movie. Like, if you just take away everything else that they were trying to do with the commentary part, it just is a boring movie. Nothing happens in it.
I think nothing happened, and it got lost because they were too busy trying to push a narrative, and like everything else went out the window, and all of a sudden you blink and it's like the end of the movie, and you're like, what the hell?
Well, they run out of white people to kill.
It's just it sucks, man. Like, it just sucks because I feel like I can watch us and understand, like, and get out and understand some things that they're trying to say, but like they're not trying to jam it down as like this is what it's about. It's like things are things. I don't care what the main characters are or this, that, and this, but like to try to push an agenda is my issue. Like, that's my big thing.
Phantasmat enjoyed Candyman. Old Curly Jaws said that the Candyman remake was amazing, guys. He thought it was better than the original Candyman.
Well,
is there any,
I think that guy's full of shit about all this stuff.
Is there any original film? Is there any original film better than a remake? Old Curly Jaws. Candyman was overrated. John Cressup agrees with us. Even the original. The original's okay, but even when it came out, I was like, it's okay. I didn't go ape shit for it, right? Rob Zilla says the Candyman is coming for Uncle Bill. Yeah, Uncle Bill's white as it comes, and he lives in Cracker Bottom. So Candyman. Yeah. You got from Candyman. Phantom of the Hummus says the new Candyman was good. Race commentary is important, and the old one was about it too. I rewatched the OG before seeing it. Yeah, the old one may have been about it a little bit, but it didn't beat it over the,
No, it didn't. You knew what it was about, but you had to think about it, and you had to try to put pieces together and be like, oh yeah, like I see what they're trying to say here. I mean, you could say that for a lot of movies that came out back then, like even People Under the Stairs. I mean, you could really dig deep and find some stuff in here, but in there as well. But it wasn't like the main focus. And that's where I think there's a big problem. And I'm just hoping that this isn't what we are going to get to when it comes to everything that comes out going forward, because I don't watch the news for the same reason, right? Like I don't. So I'm not going to watch these movies either. So I don't know.
Phantasmat says, I don't like the woke culture at all, but somehow I was able to overlook the wokeness. I think it was the cinematography that made me like it more. I mean, they did have good shots in it, technical shots, I guess.
It looked nice, yeah.
But it was like I said, the same wide angle shot of like Chicago. And it's like a synth bass thing it was like the whole movie. I don't know.
And I was so excited for this movie. Like I told people I do this all the time. If there's a movie coming out that I think I'm going to like or that's going to be a big hit, I'll get the poster. And I bought this damn poster, the one sheet for this movie. And I like I said, guys, I went into it with high hopes. And that's one of the reasons why I said, you know what, I'm done with trailers. Like that movie really turned me off the trailers because I feel like to me it was a bait and switch in a way. And I hate saying how much I disliked it, but it's true because I think we're in the minority for people who didn't like this movie, or we're saying the people who did, or the people.
Rob Zilla says there'll always be white people to hate.
Or we're the only ones that are like, or we're the minority of the people that are going to say they didn't like it, right? I think that's going to be the real telling.
Don't you think though? Anytime you're watching a movie, and you can kind of directly tell what the filmmakers like were trying to do without any thought whatsoever. The first 5 minutes of that movie, I was like, all right, so we've got the police, we've got police violence. We've got the black character. We've got a gay character. It's like we've checked all the bases. It doesn't make a damn bit of sense to the story of the movie whatsoever. But we just need to have all this shit in here. So, like, this is what we're doing. It's just an insult to anybody's intelligence to do shit like that. Like, it's just unnecessary.
Hey, do you think if they do a sequel that LeBron James could be the Candyman in it?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I listen. I thought the guy was a great choice. I thought he did well. But I thought he did good, and I think
LeBron James hates white people too. That's why I was saying, he'd be a good fit.
He does. I don't know. I don't follow anything.
Oh,
guys,
God.
I live in a little bubble, so anything. I don't know.
Garrett, we live in the biggest fucking bubble of all. We're in Eastern Kentucky. That ain't shit.
Listen, I live in a bubble when it comes to like anything real current. Like I don't know like a lot of new celebrities. Like I don't follow anything now. I don't even know new music. Like I have no idea. I just live like it's something I want to watch. I look into it, and then if not, I just listen, live, and watch things from the past. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that whole movie was just insulting.
Yeah.
Like, just not insulting in terms of like, but just insulting to your intelligence. Just that you can't make any better movie than that with those kind of themes. Like somebody else was saying, like Romero made a movie that was like iconic and powerful and like touched on all those issues, race and culture and society. Fucking, how long are we talking about here? Like 60 years or something ago? Like, and you telling me that that's the best you can do now is make something like that?
Like we're all stupid or something. Like this is what it's about. This is what happened. It's stupid. Well, I want to just jump into my third one since we're talking about insulting intelligence. The only other one I put on my list was not horror, but I knew as soon as I heard this thing was coming out that it was going to be terrible, and I was like, I'm not watching this. But randomly, I think like one night I was like laying in bed and I was like, you know what, I'm going to throw it on because it was free. And that's the new Home Alone, which I thought was ridiculously stupid.
Oh, God.
And I knew it was going to be stupid, but I was like, let me just see. And it was pretty dumb. So that's number 3 on my
there was a new Home Alone?
I tried to watch it too.
Fuck?
Me and Sarah was like, what's a new Home Alone? It looks really horrible. And it was really horrible. We made it through about 20 minutes of it, and I had to turn it off.
It just doesn't make sense. Like the kid was not a good choice. Number one, it was a very like they basically ripped from the first one, almost directly, and the thieves are not even thieves. Like it's freaking weird, man. Like it's like a couple that this kid is like setting traps for. They're not even like bad people. I don't know. It was a mess, man. It was a big mess.
It debuted on Disney Plus. Disney is the worst, man. Like anything that it's like the opposite of the Midas touch now, in my opinion. I mean, it's just me.
I agree.
Everything they do is just, I mean, it turns to shit. It's shit, basically. Back in the day when Disney made a movie, it was, 3 or 4 movies a year, maybe, because they would spend their time, it was hand animation and all that. It's been 5 years to make the fucking Lion King, right? But you knew it was going to be a good damn movie. Anymore, they churn these movies out like it's just, they're working some Nicaraguan kids at a factory. I mean, here it is. Here's a new Home Alone. It's out on Disney Plus, and gee, they couldn't make a trailer for that to even look good.
Yeah, actually,
it's terrible.
Uncle Bill, when we're done, watch the trailer, and that'll tell you enough.
Oh God, I had no idea. Like I would have never known had we not talked about it on here.
The kid in it's like a fat Harry Potter. Like he's British, right? And it's not even in Britain, right? The rest of the people aren't British. What the fuck? What's the deal?
It was weird, man. And like he stole something from this couple, and they're going to his house to get it back so they can like pay their rent so they don't get kicked out of their house. And like he's setting traps on them. I'm like, what? They're not like thieves. Like,
yeah, I think they totally missed the point of the first movie.
Yeah.
Like
it was like so dumb. Yeah.
How does a kid get left home alone now anyway, right? Couldn't you just text your mom or something?
Yeah, I mean, that would never happen.
Come on. Don't get me Happy Meal.
You're right on Disney. Disney back in the day was like everything they touched was gold. And, I have Disney Plus because of my son. And man, that thing is so loaded with like everything you remember as a kid. Like even like what were we watching the other day? Like the World's Strongest Man or whatever with Kurt Russell or whatever. Dude, that was a great little movie that, from back in the day. And there was so much good stuff on there. All the new stuff though, like I just skim right over it. It looks bad. Like it just looks
even the 90s kind of teen stuff that Disney did was great, really. Like the 90s into the 2000s teen stuff. Like, I mean, they had like a ton of really good stuff.
What's with the fucking like they're the ones that are behind this superhero bullshit too. Like,
yeah, well, they bought it all out, and to be honest, watch, they're gonna buy WWE, I bet, at the end of the day, and it's just all gonna be the same old stuff, man. Like the Marvel stuff, like I'm over it. I'm so done. I've been done for years, and
well,
but again, it's money makers, you know.
They're churning this stuff out. Like you see a chart of all these damn. They got the Star Wars universe movies. They got the Marvel universe movies. They got stuff planned for the next 10 fucking years. If
they never made another one of those Avengers or fucking Batman or any of those, I would be happy. Like I don't watch any of those, by the way. I'm just sick of any of that shit. Like I've tried to watch those movies. I know what it's going to be, and never have I watched one of those movies where it like was surprising. Like you take any of those huge franchise movies and you know exactly the way those movies are going to fucking be.
Well, I will say this. I thought Guardians of the Galaxy was a big surprise for me when I first saw it, and I really loved that movie. Second one, I didn't really care for too much. But what happens now especially is I gave them a shot for a while, and it was too CGI for me, and I wasn't really into it. And the problem is now is when a movie comes out from that universe, you don't even want to see it because you're like, well, I haven't watched the last 10 of these, so why the hell am I going to watch this one? I'm going to be so confused. And I kind of felt that way about the Spider-Man one because I've always actually liked the Spider-Man movies, and I was interested in this new one, but then I was nervous that because I haven't watched any of the Avengers, is this going to be over my head? And people said no, but agree. Like I'm not really. If they didn't make another,
how many times can they remake Spider-Man though? Like that's my problem. Like I don't.
Like
how many different Spider-Mans have there been in the last 20 years? How many different movies?
You mean like reboots or like actual movies? Because there's been 3 different reboots in the last.
Either one. Or how many different people have played Spider-Man?
I think this is the 3, 2, 3. So this is I think the 8th film, I believe.
And it's the same. A lot of the time, it's the same damn story over and over and over. It's the same thing with Batman too. Like, how many times can you just retell the same damn story?
I just think that those movies probably, like, speaking of formulaic, like those movies are the textbook definition of like just formula movies. Like
it's true. I think honestly,
he's got a
like.
Point.
From what if you watch how Disney does movies now, and like we talked about a little bit while ago with like, the PC thing and everybody's gonna have a role and all that, like that's what all their movies are now too, and I feel like WWE is gonna fit right into that little, they're firing certain people, they have a small little roster now, all different people in. I think honestly like it would be a good fit for Disney at this point. I hate to see it go, but I don't watch it anyways now. It's just sad that for what it's become.
I mean, it's one of those deals where it's so awful now. I think that if anybody got a hold of it, it would be some sort of improvement.
Yeah,
I haven't watched any of that. I haven't watched any of that shit in probably like 2 years.
Well, Uncle Bill knows how hardcore of a wrestling fan I am. If I'm fucking not watching it, there's something bad wrong.
Are you not watching it? Because that would really tell me everything I would need to know. Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I fast forward through 90% of it. I don't really... I watch the pay-per-views. That's about it.
If you talk to anybody in my high school, they would have said, "Oh, who was the biggest wrestling fan in school?" It would have been me, right? And I haven't watched it really religiously in a couple of years, and it's sad, man, because it was just such a staple in my life, and it was a big part of my life for so long. Not just Raw, but just the whole thing in general. And like, I'm paying for Peacock, and I've never even used the damn thing for like. I think like I've watched a couple pay-per-views, but like I haven't even gone back and watched any of the old stuff really anymore.
Well, it's only like $5 a month, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, so it just sits there. But I saw someone really quick jump in here about this movie X. I didn't see a trailer on it. I saw a poster, but if it's A24 and Ty West, I mean, I am down. I'm a big Ty West fan. I think everything he's done as far as the horror, for me, I always felt like I was really happy with. In the same vein that I feel like, who's the other guy who did Hereditary and Midsommar? Who's that guy?
Ari Aster.
Yeah, like I feel the same way about like Ari Aster, and when he's behind something, I'm usually really excited for it.
I did hear people mention Lamb was good as well, the A24 movie. I haven't seen that either. I did hear that.
You guys have another bad that you guys want to throw out there? Because I'm done.
How about the latest in the long line of Conjuring movies that come out from Warner Brothers?
I haven't seen it.
The best part of that movie wasn't the first 15 minutes of it about the little boy that was possessed or whatever, and that was cool.
I thought it was going to be I thought it was going to be fucking awesome because of that, and then it takes like a sharp turn into just being like just all the jump scare. That's the only thing I remember about it. I just remember being so pissed off because like every 7 or 8 minutes you had some sort of like bullshit jump scare that was just like, and that was the whole movie. I don't remember anything else about it at this point.
But Patrick Wilson and that Vera lady or whatever, they're happy as fuck to keep getting paid for these damn movies because they're not doing nothing else.
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, they're probably as happy as fucking Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox.
Courtney Cox, she better, hey, let me tell you something. She better pray that they make another fucking Scream movie because
Listen.
Her fucking stretched out duck face ain't gonna get hired for anything else.
Listen,
how dare you?
I haven't seen it, but in my watching of all the rest of them earlier, I was actually, and I totally forgot this, I was dying laughing on part 3 where she had those little bangs in the front of her head. What the hell was that look?
She actually, I swear to God, dude, I didn't think about it either until, but she actually, there was an interview with her within the last week where she talked about that, where she said that one of the people on set did that 5 minutes before she was to be on camera. They did it and then she couldn't change it. She had to for continuity, she had to keep it that shitty for the whole film. But yeah, she talks about how horrible it is too, and it is it's.
I think she
Suspiria Night says that she looks like Pumpkinhead.
She looks like a wet lizard now. Yeah.
I can't tell if old Curly Jaws is like a troll or if he's being serious on everything he's posting in here.
No, he's definitely. I
think he's being serious.
I don't think he's being serious. I definitely think he's a troll.
I don't know because I'm looking down. I'm like, wow, he's it's opposite of everything I think inside. Everything he's saying. I can't tell.
I didn't really hear though. It's not like anybody was really putting The Conjuring 3 over. It's that was one of those movies that kind of resoundingly everybody fucking hated except Curly. I bet Curly Jaws liked it, but pretty much Conjuring 3.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it.
Shit dipped in shit.
I don't know. I don't know. Neither one of you probably have this film on your worst list, but Halloween Kills is on my fucking worst list.
Hey, are we going to talk about that movie again?
No, we're not going to talk about it again, but just needless to say, it's on my fucking worst list.
What about, I think Uncle Bill saw this, Spiral, the new Saw movie. I didn't watch it.
There's only two more that I had left, and Spiral was one of them, and then Old was the other one.
I didn't see it either.
Holy shit.
So it's that good then, huh?
M. Night Shyamalan's gimmick has gotten old.
Oh God! I watched it and I was like, how does he make these films? And the Happening was the same way, where you can clearly see these people I don't know if they're just really bad actors or they're just really don't know what to do in a scene or there's not been rehearsed enough. I don't know what it is, but the acting was so noticeably bad in that movie that I cannot believe it got made. It got through whatever production, where nobody looked at it and was we maybe want to reshoot some of this shit.
But do you think at this point that's his MO? Because I mean,
it has to be.
The last couple movies, you that one with Mark Wahlberg, his acting was so bad, and even what's the other one? There was a couple other ones where the acting was just so over the top and it was so terrible that you're how could this ever have gotten made?
I mean, most anything that he did over the past 10 years has been like that. But the two in particular that I can think of was The Happening and then this one, where it was just noticeable. I know he has to be doing it on purpose. There's no way you don't notice that. There's just no way, man. And I don't know if he's going for a campy it doesn't read that way in the movie though. That movie's old is like dead serious, so it doesn't come across like that. But it's just from start to finish, and the twist is fucking stupid, and like just everything that happens in that movie is just completely unbelievable.
So what I was wondering though is with Spiral, which is I haven't seen it. I had the opportunity to purchase it for it was already $10. I think the 4K was at Best Buy for Black Friday. I didn't get it. I have no interest really in it. But one thing that I thought of that they could do, because I don't know if the puppet from Saw is in this movie, right? Wouldn't it be cool, since Chris Rock is in it, you could have Billy the puppet versus Little Penny.
From the fucking Anthony Hardaway commercials? Is that what you're talking about?
That was Chris Rock. He was the voice of Little Penny.
Oh my God.
Little Penny got me to buy those.
Dude, you fucking pulled that out of your ass. Like Little Penny.
Little Penny versus Jigsaw in the next.
Now, I don't know anything about Spiral as well. Like, I haven't seen it, and it is something I've actually been wanting to watch. But for me, it was like, I don't want to go and buy the Blu-ray or the 4K because I'm thinking in my head, well, we know there's going to be a Saw box. Will this be in there? I don't want to spend my money now if it's just going to come out later. But to be honest, like I have the Blu-ray box set, and I'm thinking to myself, besides the first one, I don't really think I would buy another Saw set.
No, it's time to let Saw go for about another 5 years so they reboot it, because like this, it's just time to.
Well, they've tried a couple of times recently, and it seems like it just went over like a fucking turd in a punch bowl.
That's true. They tried Jigsaw, which was awful, and then they tried this one, which was also awful. Just nobody gives a shit anymore. Like they ran those movies into the ground. Like they were so bad. Like after a while, that nobody cares.
Yeah, I think that if they did do Little Penny versus the Jigsaw or whatever, that would revive things. People would be interested in seeing that. Bring Little Penny back.
Little Penny.
What's funny is it's like nobody in the chat probably knows what in the fuck Little Penny is. Like that was so long ago.
It's like early 90s, yeah.
That was. Man, let me tell you something though. Back in that time frame, the Orlando Magic was like my favorite team.
Oh, you guys, there's a documentary on ESPN about that. It's called "Do You Believe in Magic?" and it's about the whole organization. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's killer. Yeah, yeah.
I haven't seen it. I'd love to watch it.
Oh, it's great. I was a big
about
Magic
that time
fan as a kid.
time frame. Yeah, I think the Magic around. The early to mid 90s when Shaq was still there and had Penny Hardaway and Nick Anderson, all the guys. That was probably the best team that never won a championship.
Yep, they talk about that, yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
But anyway.
I'm sorry, I'm just dying. Urethra Franklin. Urethra Franklin.
Oh, man.
Oh.
That's in our show, Uncle Bill. You forgot about Urethra Franklin?
Oh, I did. Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, Halloween Kills. What else can we say about it?
I don't want to say anything else about it. Like we've talked ad nauseum about it. Yeah, whatever.
I got the 4K, but I haven't watched any of the new footage yet, so I don't even know what that is. I haven't watched any of it. So,
well, I know B Junior from Endurance Productions is in it.
That's awesome. Man.
It's in one of the deleted scenes, yeah.
Oh, that's good for him.
I just can't wait for Halloween Ends, both figuratively and literally. Yeah.
I can't wait to meet Anthony Michael Hall at Monster Mania this year and have him sign my poster.
Please don't. Please don't meet him for that fucking movie. God. Anything.
I'm giving.
I know what you'll have him quote on there. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as there's a couple things that people keep mentioning on here, we're going to talk about it, I guess. The Chucky series. I watched the first episode of it.
That's all I watched too. Not that I didn't like it. I thought the first episode was okay. Everybody keeps saying it was a great series, and I'll probably buy it and watch it. But I can't do anything that I have to like watch it every week kind of thing because I just don't have time for that. I've got to kind of schedule it. I don't know. It's just I can't do that. If it all came out at once, I would have probably binged it already at that point. But I haven't watched anything but the first episode. Yeah,
with me, the first episode I watched it. I thought it was okay. but it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I can't wait to see the second episode. So I never did. I've still got them on my DVR. I just never did go and watch it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, everybody talked about how great it was, but I watched some of the first one too and didn't watch anything else. So I don't know. I don't know what it was. It just couldn't. I think it's more like what Garrett was saying though. You just like I don't have time for fucking like a series like that to watch like the whole thing all the way through.
Yeah, that's my problem with TV shows. I just don't have the time for it. I mean, with Cobra Kai, like no doubt, it's my favorite. I'm gonna watch that thing. But if Cobra Kai was on like every Wednesday, like it would have been a harder thing for me to keep up with. You know.
Yeah, Cobra Kai. As far as that was technically, was that New Year's Eve or New Year's Day?
New Year's Day, but I mean, I can easily say Cobra Kai season 3 would be on my 2021 list, no doubt.
There you go. It's on DVD now.
I know. I'm not doing that. I don't understand what that. Why DVD? No. It's so weird. I have the Blu-rays for season 1 and 2, like, but I don't think that company I got them from is around anymore to get that one.
So I guess we could do like we could do physical media releases.
Yeah, I have a couple here. For best, I don't have anything here for worst because if it's worst, I wouldn't have probably bought it.
I got a couple for worst, okay. And you've got them too. I know you do.
Before we get into the releases, though, as far as studios,
I might surprise you on that. Go ahead.
Which studio had the best 2021? Do you guys think?
I would say, in my opinion, Arrow. I would think. But again, Arrow, I think, had a great year, but I wasn't really happy that they're just redoing their box sets and putting HD, like 4K in there. Like, that kind of bothers me because I've spent a ton of money getting these sets, and now all of a sudden it's like, I'm going to rebuy the set just because it's got a UHD disc in there, and that kind of pissed me off a little bit just because, you know, if you're going to do it, like, at least make it different. Don't give me the same set. But I think as a whole, I would say probably Arrow when it came to just solid releases, in my opinion.
I would say just in general of anything like in the US, UK, anywhere, it would be Arrow. Just for the packaging, for the production quality, for the extras, for the everything about the releases, and for the actual titles they got too. Definitely Arrow. I would say in the U.S. it would be Synapse. So just because they don't release that much, but like the shit they released was fucking insanely good. Like all of them.
It's an interesting thing to discuss real quick here too. Old Curly brings up a good point. Physical media, I'm seeing it dwindle down even more, you know, as far as in the store goes. Best Buy, they're getting fewer and fewer releases. Walmart's the same way. Target, a lot of that's, it's just probably, 30% of what it was last year. So, like, a lot of the releases we're talking about is boutique titles, which are never in stores.
Right.
But if you notice, too, like, as that's been happening, shit like Vinegar Syndrome stuff has gotten insanely, like, more popular as the years gone. I mean, you can't... There's all that shit sold out in that last sale in like 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I know that there's like a more of a market for it. It's just going like more and more like kind of underground niche kind of market.
Yeah, now that is definitely a topic that I think it needs to be discussed more because it's confusing to me because it's right on point. Like from a standpoint of, you know, mainstream titles and mainstream stores holding physical media, it's dying a big death. But on the backside of it, when you look at boutique labels and physical media, like I don't remember a time when it was so hot as I feel like it is now. Like there was some dead periods, but like when you have things selling out and people up at midnight to get releases, like that just didn't happen before. And I don't know if it's because they didn't do it before, but it's weird because like what happens if physical media from a mainstream standpoint dies? Because I think even Disney said they were going to X physical media releases in the going forward with a lot of their titles, which does hold a lot of big name titles for a lot of people. But even myself, like I'm very, very slim on buying mainstream titles anyways. Like, I mean, I grabbed like Malignant. I grabbed like, you know, I just said Saint Maud. I mean, I don't know if those would be mainstream titles, but not boutique labels per se, but what happens here? Is it just become an online niche at that point?
I think it already has. I mean, there's a couple of. I know that Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow and Severin and stuff like that. Occasionally, their stuff is in like FYE stores. You'll see some stuff. Well, I don't know if Vinegar
Old
Syndrome
Curly
is.
has to be a troll, dude. He has to be. He has to be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is, man. I'm pretty sure he is.
He's very active in the chat, so we appreciate it, Old Curly.
Come on.
Old Curly Jaws, boys. That's a good name, by the way. That's good, Old Curly Jaws. So, but yeah, the mainstream stuff, man, like Walmart and Best Buy and stuff like that, new theatrical stuff only stays on the shelves for what, 2 or 3 weeks maybe, and then they move it to whatever the new titles are. So it's definitely the collectors, which is weird too, because you're getting like some of this very obscure, like Tix is getting a 4K release. So it seems like the 4K format is specifically made mainly for like cinephiles and movie fans and just a kind of an underground market there.
But what happens though? Like, for instance, like, is physical media going to be strong enough with just boutique to keep it going? Like, if mainstream stuff is dead, like,
no,
would they follow suit? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, would these labels follow suit and be like, well, all these stores are not putting this out anymore. Maybe we should find something else, or do they try to hit it stronger from the back end? And what happens to something like a Halloween ends, right? Like, suppose all the stores are like, oh, and the main distribution company's like, yeah, we're done with physical media. Does Halloween end? Just never get one? Like, what happens? That's what I really have a tough time figuring out.
Well, I think if you look at like if you go back to baseball cards, basketball cards, comic books, any kind of like physical media, like I think it'll come in a wave and then it'll die down. Like it'll go like people will be all up about collecting these Vinegar Syndrome and Severin things, and then people just get tired of the shit, or they put so much stuff out that it burns people out, and then they stop, and then or they slow down or stop or whatever for a period of time, and then it comes back around over a period of years. Like that's really the way that I think it'll go. Like I think that all this stuff with people going crazy over the Vinegar Syndrome and Severin stuff will die down. People it's just like anything else. Like they get tired of it after a while.
We have like 85 people in the chat right now. So definitely, whether you're on Born to Be Rad or Dead Pit, thumbs up, all that good stuff, right, Uncle Bill? That's what we do.
I don't want you.
Yeah.
Look alone. Don't do it.
We got to do it.
No, don't touch it.
Yeah.
I don't want you to give me. Don't give it a thumbs up.
And if you hit that bell,
baby,
you got to smack it, boys. That's what people say. That's what these new kids say. Smack that bell. Smack it, boss.
And how about this? We're simulcasting, so if you're on my channel, go to Dead Pits and subscribe and like over there. And if you're on their channel, come.
Born the #2BeRad.
Double the love, baby.
Listen, it's all right if you want to like Born to Be Rad, but don't fucking touch ours. I don't want you to fucking like it. I don't want you around. I don't want nothing to do with it.
Listen, you son of a bitch, we got click that like button.
No,
thumbs up.
No, up your ass, no.
So physical releases, what you guys got? I didn't really. There's a couple that I brought out.
There's a couple I brought out. I think. I don't want to keep talking about this, but my house is in shambles, so like my collection is like completely buried. So I didn't have a lot of time like looking through everything. So I grabbed a couple big ones. I'm sure I missed a lot. So people in the chat can probably chime in, and I'll be like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. But I'll come out with mine first. I wasn't sure if I wanted to put this in best physical media releases or best movies of the year. And that was New York Ninja. I had a freaking ball with this movie. And I think the release that this thing got was fantastic. And I'm so glad that it is available now. And I think they just did a great job with everything about what this movie is. And if Freddie Young is still in the chat, I actually watched this for the first time with him. And, dude, we were like laughing like little schoolgirls, like a hotel room of like 4 dudes and like 1 girl just like going nuts laughing at this thing. So I love it.
That didn't sound right.
Yeah, Freddie knows. I love New York Ninja, guys. I think if you don't have this, I didn't know. I'm surprised this thing isn't sold out, knowing how Vinegar Syndrome works. But go get New York Ninja for sure.
You know,
I actually had that one in there too. Like, I agree with that. Even though I didn't buy it, like, I think that was probably one of the best in terms of like.
Yeah, I don't have it yet, but that's definitely one that I want to get. I mean, I was very impressed with how that all come together, and I am very interested in checking the documentary out on it. It's just, it's one of those deals like, okay, there's only two people that they know that was in the damn movie. If you go on IMDb, well, the last time I went on there, physically in the movie, there's only two people credited, and the rest are like voice actors. So that's how obscure this movie was. They put it together, and honestly, I would have never thought that they made it that way. I mean, you can tell that it was dubbed, right? But there's all kinds of movies from back in that time frame that were dubbed.
Right.
They did a great job with it. It's probably the best. I think it's the shining moment for Vinegar Syndrome as a company, is that release in that movie.
I agree. That was probably like the best thing that they did all year. And I mean, they had like a couple of releases, but they also had a couple that I think would be on my worst like list too. So I think that was their best achievement of anything.
Yeah, what do you guys bring to the table for one of your first ones?
I know Uncle Bill's gonna bring this up, but I only got a couple. So I watched this not too long ago. This is the Synapse release of The Kindred.
That's on my list too.
This was the most hyped release of all time from Synapse. I think it was even longer than the
for 5 years.
Yeah, even longer than the. And to be honest with you, one gripe, I would have used this artwork as a slipcover too. This is such an iconic, video store era art. But this is a excellent movie. The transfer on this thing is top notch. The documentary on it from Michael Slipcase Felcher, even though the fucking guy's starting his own podcast, Uncle Bill. Did you hear about this shit?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Turning his back on us, lying to us about the Elm Street set, lying to us about Trick or Treat, some bitch, lying to us about Trauma, boldface lying. He admitted to it. Okay.
You know what though? We're gonna be doing a lot of collabs with that crew, so you wait.
That's probably true.
Well, if he pays me money.
I've already chatted. So I've already chatted. We're gonna be doing some fun gigs with those dudes.
It's gonna be a spooky podcast, though. I heard. So
yeah.
I think that release though is probably like one of the most anticipated releases. It's been talked about for so long. I think we talked about it back in like when we interviewed Don May, didn't we?
We talked about
the first time.
Yeah, the first time is he actually held this cover up. So, but yeah, I mean, this is a release that was 15 years in the making. I think it was 15 years.
Yeah, at least.
And people were bitching about the $50 price tag on this thing. From what I've been told, this is under 1,000 copies already, so it's going to sell out pretty soon. I'd get it. I'd grab it.
Yeah, that.
They're gonna complain about that. They better be ready when the Hitcher comes out. And Martin, they better be ready.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing I can say about Synapse is that I really don't care about paying them $50 because I know that like the quality of that is going to be second to none, so it doesn't matter. Like it's going to, there's very few companies I would pay that much money to for steel books and things like that, but they're definitely one of them. So if anybody's got this one though, because I didn't get it. Just grab it real quick because one of my favorite releases was the Deep Red Arrow release that came out.
I don't own it, man. I never got it.
I have it, but I don't have it out.
Well, just imagine that I've got it in front of me because I don't know what else to tell you.
Is it still available in the nice big box? Is that still available, or is that long gone now?
I don't know. Like they had two different versions, like they did of all the like. One of them was like a website exclusive, and the other one was So I'm not sure. I'm sure one of them is probably still out at least. But
I have the Blu-ray from Blue Underground, and I would definitely like to swap it. So if it's still around, I might as well just get it.
So if you watch that, I don't know if you watched it yet, CK, but like, what Steve was talking about with it too is 100% true. Like the transfer fucking quality on that is just insane. I mean, that movie was made in 1975, I think, and it looks like it was made yesterday. It's amazing.
Oh, it's the deluxe treatment for sure. I love those. Like they did a bunch of Argento releases this year too, though. It was like they're doing like a lot of his early stuff. Bird with Crystal Plumage, The Cat o' Nine Tails. Yeah. So,
I have all those now. I kind of feel like if you like his stuff, you have to have those. Like those are the definitive editions of those movies.
And Phenomena is coming up. It's a collab with Arrow Video and Synapse coming up in March. So that could possibly be the 2022 release of the year, I think. They're going all out with that. Arrow in the UK is doing like 3 different versions of it in the UK, and then Synapse, working with Arrow, is doing the version. There's, let's see, I've got the artwork here, the thick limited edition. They're doing the very first Synapse release that way, so that's going to be very cool.
I just think, too, that like... all those deluxe editions that Arrow did were all kind of like amazing in their own ways. Like all of the, especially the Argento ones. And then there's one other one too that I'm sure somebody's going to bring up. That was like a deluxe Arrow one too.
That might be coming up right now.
Yeah.
All right, you want to go after it?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, that's like
perfect
segue.
So I'm going to go on a limb right now and say this was my favorite, and I think I talked about this briefly on another show, maybe this show, I don't know. But favorite release of the year, physical media wise, and that was Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge from Arrow Video. I mean, this thing is so nice. I mean, that artwork is killer. It blows all the old artwork out of the water. It's a thick box, limited edition. You get a book. You get 3 cuts of the movie, and it just goes to show that like you take a movie that's not really. That doesn't deserve something like that, put some effort into it, and people love it. And I think that we talked about this before where it's like, Vinegar Syndrome could be onto something with some of these bigger companies like, you know what, let's pretty up some of these lesser known titles and see what people think. And I think this thing is basically out of print except the UK one now, which again is all region. No, is it all region? No, it can't be.
No, it's B. It's the one that's out now is just B. Yeah.
So that's definitely my top pick this year, and I know you guys like this one too, I believe.
I think you're right. I think that's kind of like what's going to continue to happen in 2022 is that, and Vinegar Syndrome kind of popularized that, which is you take these movies that are really fucking obscure and nobody really talks about, you put them in these awesome like special edition packages, and people just buy the shit out of them. Because all the people that are left buying physical media are like cult collectors anyway. So, I mean, it's completely like targeted to that audience. I think that's what you'll see happen more and more.
I think what Arrow did with, and I actually brought this out too, because I'm not a huge fan of the movie, but this is just a gorgeous edition that they did, and the restore on it, the special features and all that. It's a great one to own. And it never really received. I think it had a basic DVD release that was almost like a bootleg or something, right?
I have it. It was junk. Yeah.
So, Arrow's definitely a company to watch. Like they get a hold of some stuff that's never really seen the light of day before. Somebody mentioned Death Screams a little bit earlier in the chat. I couldn't find it in here, but that's another one. I mean, it's not necessarily a good movie or anything, but if you're a fan of 80s slasher movies, this was like a regional slasher film from like North Carolina or somewhere like that wasn't out everywhere. I don't think the VHS was that easy to find, so they're getting some of these movies like that where they're putting it out on more of a national level so people can check these movies out for the very first time, a lot of them. So they do a great job.
Really quick, we talked about maybe them doing more of these deluxe big box editions for these kind of lesser known movies. One of them that I would love to see someone get their hands on is Cheerleader Camp, but this is actually inside the Blu-ray of Phantom of the Mall, and it's a card for Hell High, so which makes me think that this is coming from Arrow, and I'm just curious to see if this is going to be in this same type of limited edition box set treatment like Phantom of the Mall was, because that's the the card that's inside this Blu-ray. So it's kind of interesting to keep our eyes out for that.
Somebody mentioned Dream a Little Dream. That one they announced that one.
Yeah, I
Lionsgate.
think that's Vestron or something.
Yeah. Sleepy is actually working on that one too. You mentioned that.
What a
I'm down for some two Corys.
Hey, let me tell you something now. And I'm a fan of a lot of the Corey's movies and everything. But Dream a Little Dream is a legit, as far as the actual movie goes, it may be one of the best movies that those guys, outside of, Feldman did some crazy mainstream stuff that's classic, but that's a great freaking movie. I always loved Dream a Little Dream.
Mm-hmm. I think that one and License to Drive
that
are
always,
both great.
I always put those kind of on the same tier. Like, I look at License to Drive as, like, Corey Haim's, big movie other than, like, Lost Boys and stuff, and then Corey Feldman's version was kind of like Dream a Little Dream. Like, he was the main lead in that one, and Haim was like his sidekick. And then those are the two best, I think, when it comes to those two guys. But Ken Carlson said Lost Boys in 4K in 2022. Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
That was
it
a
needs
rumor.
a better edition, though. Like, it needs a nicer, like, I just don't want it to be just like a mainstream title and like a little slip. Like, I want it to be a nice edition, but sadly, a lot of these like mainstream companies like don't put that kind of effort in. So I don't know. We'll see.
Gleaming the Cube in 4K. Could we see that next year?
Shit.
I'd be down for that.
Vinegar Syndrome would release it, and Severin would release it too. I mean, it just depends on who gets it. The License to Drive Blu-ray goes for crazy money, doesn't it? I've got that.
I got it.
Yeah, I have it too. Prayer of the Roller Boys, man, that would be another good one. I don't know what it is, but I've always love that movie. That'd be a good one of the VSAs.
Oh yeah,
be a good one of those. What else you got, Uncle Bill? You got any other great releases you want to put over? Or we want to start talking smack.
Just in terms of like physical media, like it wasn't a new release or anything by any stretch, but that American Psycho Steelbook, I think everybody's got that. Like, that has to be one of the best packaging. I haven't watched it or anything like that. I haven't like looked at it or anything other than just the actual like way that the packaging was done. It's got to be like one of the most memorable releases of the last year.
Yeah, it's really cool. Very cool.
That's a good score there. Brian Goes Blue, License to Drive Blu-ray at Go Hastings for $4.
That's awesome.
That was like I went at an Anchor Bay release or something, that Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was, yeah.
Really just wanted to put over Blue Underground as far as their 4Ks go. I don't know what method they use, but man, like, their stuff looks unreal in 4K. And this is no exception. This is one of those movies where I never thought it'd really look that great in 4K, Dead and Buried from like 1980. But it's wonderful, wonderful release.
What else did Two Evil Eyes come out this year too? That was a good release as well.
I think that was this year, yeah. And they did the Maniac Cop sequels.
That's right.
Daughters of Darkness. Not necessarily my type of movie, but man, that looks great. It looks amazing in 4K.
So, you want to talk about the worst?
You want to start talking about Scream Factory for a little bit?
Hold on. I gotta give props to this.
Oh yeah.
I gotta give props to this Karate Kid box set, even though, like I said, it's the Machio trilogy, and I don't want them to come out with the other one in there because then I'm gonna have to rebuy it. So, if that's all we're getting, I'm happy with it. I'm cool with 1 through 3, and yeah, I know what you guys are gonna say for your worst list, but I don't know if I kind of have it on my like half and half list right now.
Actually, that's not what I'm gonna. That's not what I'm gonna say, because I think that the worst release, by far, was Phantasm 1 and 2 from Welgo.
It was a bad release. I mean, for sure.
Like, there's no doubt in my mind. Like, you take all those Scream Factory like Blu-rays and shit, like all the way they did the Halloween series, but none of that compares to how bad they fucked up everything about them. The discs, the packaging, the poster, like,
it was just random. Like, why just 1 and 2? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you can't get them all. Like, it's not necessary, right? Like, and you know what? I'm stupid because I bought the damn thing and I haven't even watched it yet. So, I don't know.
Well, I mean, most people were still waiting on their goddamn replacement disc because.
Yeah.
What was the deal with the? I mean, they have a replacement disc program for everything, so it's kind of hard to keep track of.
Yeah, it is very hard to keep track.
Yeah, what the issues were with it. I gotta say though, man, like I watched. I think it was the first movie in 4K, and I watched some of Part 5 in 4K. Those look great. They look great. I'm not going to bullshit. They look fantastic. You can definitely tell, even the first one, there's an improvement in the 4K.
What are you talking about now? Halloween?
Phantasm.
I think he's talking about the Halloween movies.
We're talking about Halloween?
No,
when the fuck we started talking about Halloween?
No,
I thought we was done talking about Halloween. I was talking about Scream Factory shit.
No, wait. Listen. So Uncle Bill was talking about Phantasm, that 1 and 2 set being garbage, and I agree with him. But if we want to move on, because I know we're going to talk about that, but I think the Scream Factory Halloween, like, to me, that was on borderline, because I think when it came to what we got, it was great. It's on my, like, best of list. Quality and all that stuff. But when it came to just everything else, like, you know, price points and the artwork and all that, like, there's a lot that I don't like about it. So I think for me, it's a very middle of the road, but I will shout this out again. That dude, whoever made this nice, sweet box set, I will say that this really caps it off for me. Look at that sweetness right there. Boom. You know how nice they fit in there. Woo. So, to me, I'm happy with this release.
That's making him get a little bit moist. Thinking about it.
Yeah, he get worked up.
I'm happy with those releases now. You know, when it first came out, I was kind of like, but I'm happy with them. Actually, what makes me more mad is that I know that we're getting the other ones, and now it's like, frick, what good is all that now? And will we get them in the same packaging as we got these ones in? Because
probably not.
Yeah,
the hard boxes are kind of cool and stuff like that. Like, I kind of like them, but at the same time, like, Scream Factory went back to the old slipcover. So are they just doing it for the Halloweens? Because why did Elvira get one? I told you, it's still something that's the worst of the year, is that they gave us Elvira in those hard boxes, and that's the only other disc besides the Halloweens that got it. That's the worst. Doesn't make sense. It's weird.
I think pretty much everything they did for those Halloween movies felt kind of rushed and cheap. Like, that's the biggest problem with them, really, is like, okay, so you had all the eco case nonsense. You had, like, the artwork that was just awful. You know, the movies themselves, like, when you actually, like, watch Halloween 3 or something like that, because that's the big one that I watch, they're pretty good. Like, they're not, I mean, it's not bad quality or anything like that. It's just everything about the way they went about those movies, too, is just kind of textbook Scream Factory, I guess, at this point.
I wanted to say, too, that as far as overall, I think, like, one of the big fails of the year was Vinegar Syndrome and the yearly subscription package and some of the stuff. Like, had I thrown down $800, $900, whatever, on 2021 and the stuff they released, it was junk. Ultimately, I mean, there was a few good releases overall, but like trying to hype up Gates of Hell Part 2 was one that I saw. I'm gonna call him out here, Brad Henderson. I saw him post. Oh, I was championing this movie for. That movie ain't worth shit. I've been saying it for years. That movie does not deserve a DVD release. It definitely doesn't deserve a Blu-ray release. So stuff like that, and Annie Lee's Meat Pies, and I mean, you can go through them here. A bunch of crap, basically, all year. Trauma movies that nobody asked for that stuff in HD.
Now, I love Vinegar Syndrome, but I kind of have to agree with you. Like, the majority of stuff that they released, especially in, like, the last 6 months, was just trash. Like, it really, I mean, you can't even make it good. Like, it just wasn't.
I mean, there's some good stuff, but it was few and far between. I mean, they already come out with, like, The Outing, which had been out forever from Scream Factory.
Yeah.
Bringing out a different cut of it, okay? It's the lamp cut, which I guarantee you is not... what is it really? Is it like a minute of longer material or something? And I'm just going through some of the stuff here. Like, Six String Samurai was another one. Like, I remember me and Garrett, you can go back to that show. I think it was like was it halfway to Black Friday? I can't remember when they debuted that.
Yeah.
And we were hyped up. Oh man, it's got to be something huge. You know, they're going to, because VSU is their 4K. It's got to be something gigantic. What could it be? Right. And then,
but that's the funny thing about Vinegar Syndrome. They make everything sound like it's killer. Like, yeah. God, you've been waiting on this for fucking 20 years.
Six String Samurai, and I'm like, huh? What? What is that?
4K in this huge box and stuff. I'm like, what the hell? I still don't even own it, but I need. It's actually on a list of, like, when it goes on sale again, I'll grab it. But I don't know. I've never seen it, and I don't think it's. I haven't heard anything good about it.
I think we should do like if you ever get it, we should do like a commentary over it. First time watching it, because it's terrible. Like, I've heard it's terrible. The reviews are not very good on it, and it's that way for a lot of Vinegar Syndrome releases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think when we go back to, Scream Factory, I know somebody in the chat said something about Creepshow having one of those hard boxes. Yeah, Creepshow had a hard box, but it was advertised as a special edition. It also came with a little book. The hard box is also a thick one. Elvira was just a Blu-ray, no real big. And the movie itself isn't even that great of a movie. But the point is that I think what was weird is it came out right after these Halloweens, and what we thought was, oh, maybe this is what they're going to do going forward, and then it just went back to the old ways. So to me, it just doesn't make sense, that release, to have that, and it just looks weird on the shelf, and I don't know, stuff like that. But I think with Scream Factory, I think with them now, I think they're getting overshadowed with the releases because they're still doing the old standard slipcovers and, stuff like that, where you have these other companies that are doing these big, thick boxes that come in with little books. Like, they're putting a lot more into these releases where, again, it's hard because the Scream Factory go that route and just copy what everybody else is doing to prettier releases, or do they stay the course and just do it their way and put out some good stuff? Because they did put out good titles, like Kill a Party was a great one, Alone in the Dark was a good hit, Deadly Friend. These are all movies that I love, and they did put them out this year, but for whatever reason, like, they're great releases, but they didn't make my best releases of the year, just because I think just due to lack of, like, packaging and stuff like that. To me, they kind of just were just cool releases. They weren't my favorite, right? But I don't know. What do you guys think about all that? Do you think it's time for them to kind of do the little extra, or do you think it's too far gone for them to go that route now?
I think to some degree or another they do that. They just have another way of going about it. Like, they don't do the same types of things with the slip covers and things like that, but they do shit like they'll have the vinyls, the little single vinyls, and the boxes, like a lot of the titles will come in, like they did They Live and Prince of Darkness and the Halloween movies like that. So I mean, they've got their own variation of doing stuff like that, and that stuff is probably more expensive than any of the stuff that Vinegar Syndrome puts out like that. But I mean, they do special edition.
They do a lot of
gimmicks, yeah. But they don't do the same types of stuff. Like all of their releases aren't like that. Like with Vinegar Syndrome, like every Vinegar Syndrome release has the slip cover, because that's kind of Vinegar Syndrome's gimmick now. Is that they want to sell out of those slip covers, because people just go fucking nuts about them, and then they'll show up on eBay for $100 or whatever. It's like,
it's almost to the point now, though, where I think Scream Factory could get away with not doing the posters, because people don't really seem to care as much.
No, they don't.
About that sort of thing anymore, and maybe do something different on the limited edition front.
I thought the NECA figure thing was cool that they were doing it. It was an incentive for sure for me. I grabbed every single one of them. Being a NECA collector, it was like, you got to get it because it's an exclusive, until it wasn't an exclusive anymore. But hey, I thought it was a good opportunity for them to team with NECA. It was different. But you know what's funny is that as lackluster as the Scream Factory slipcovers are, they are also going for big money, just like Vinegar Syndrome ones are, because like I said, I'm not a slipcover guy. I'm mostly a boutique label slipcover guy, but like all my mainstream movies, I take the slipcovers off and put them in a big box just to save that extra, like, paper-sized piece of space I can get into my shelf here. But I just like everything to look uniform. But all my boutique, I try to get some slips, and it sucks because I don't care about slips, but at the same time, Scream Factory collector's editions are the only ones that have the slip. So if I get a collector's edition, I want the slip. It's a whole weird thing that I do. But I've looked up a couple of movies that I want, and to get them with a slip at this point is big money, and the slips aren't even that impressive. I think it's just the point,
Mm-hmm. I think we need definitely touch on Kino too. I think they had a really solid year, and the reason that I like Kino so much is when they have a sale, it's legit sale. Like, and their stuff is fairly priced anyway, and they're doing re-releases on a lot of the Code Red stuff, which I missed out on because I think that was during the time period we weren't doing the show or anything, and I was kind of not keeping up with it as much. And I think they're doing a great job too, man. I mean, Cool as Ice is one I think that came out this year. That was one that I know you championed for a while. And they released some kind of like Career Opportunities was another one I believe that came out. Some stuff that's a little bit under the radar, but they do a great job on all their stuff too.
Yeah, I agree. Kino's always a go-to, kind of like the same way you said with Synapse. It's not that, they put out a lot of stuff, Kino does, but they're priced right. Kino's funny because they don't go all fancy with their titles either, but they always put out good movies. Like Kino is the one company that I feel like when I blind buy from them, I'm usually pretty satisfied if I've never heard of a movie. There's not many that they put out that I was like, oh, I can't believe I bought this. Even ones that I had never seen.
Well, their remaster process too, a lot of their stuff looks amazing. Even I think I mentioned this on a stream a few weeks ago. I was watching like a lot of slasher movies there for a little while. To All a Good Night was a release that they did. And that was one that had never seen the light of day on DVD. The only thing that we had was a VHS. And man, they made it look like $1 million.
Yeah. I got to agree too with Greg. Like, I didn't think about Vestron, but like the titles that they put out this year were actually really good too. Yeah. Like the Wraith probably was one of my favorites.
For anybody that hasn't picked up Shivers or Little Monsters, those are $7.50 at Walmart right now.
Those were great too. I mean, coming from somebody that really likes Cronenberg, and then
I think Shivers may be his most underrated movie, Cronenberg.
Yeah, it's a batshit insane movie. That's
I love
great.
it.
It kind of reminds me of The Crazies. It's kind of the same.
It reminds me of Dawn of the Dead a little bit for some reason.
I guess, it kind of is like that too.
Yeah.
It looks the same. It's got that industrial look too, like what Romero did back in the 70s. Like they just look like the same movie.
Yeah. And it's so old that Lynn Lowry looks young in it.
Jesus. It's fucking brutal.
I'm sorry, Lynn Lowry.
What else though? We got to talk about Severin. I mean, they released so much quality stuff in the past.
What you got there? What's a best of 2021?
Oh.
Did you get it in 2021?
I guess it would have. I guess it would have been. Yeah. I ordered it in 2021.
Yeah, technically it came out in 2021. There's people that still don't have their orders. Do you believe that shit?
Well, fuck you, because I got my Dick Demon.
That is a nice Dick Demon you got there.
Yeah, I'm glad. I like that. I like my Dick Demon quite a bit. But like most of Severin's stuff is trash. I'm gonna be honest. Everybody knows that. I think it's not very good.
I think Severin's, they almost got sued into oblivion this year. We think.
Well, that was one of the worst of the year. I have that written here. Was the whole debacle with them, and then the loss of, Drop Dead Fred. That was one of my worsts this year. Was the Severin blunder that we all had to witness.
It was probably that aspect. Probably was their worst year of all time, I would say. But I think all the studios to a point had a pretty decent year. Otherwise. It definitely seems like Arrow is just churning this stuff out more than even Vinegar Syndrome, to be honest with you. It seems like they've got more stuff than anybody. Vinegar Syndrome, though, I mean, they've got their subscription and all that. People are still heavy into their product and all that, too. So, it's kind of almost like a cult. It's like the Midnight Mass movie. Like Vinegar Syndrome can do no wrong, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that Vinegar Syndrome and Severin probably had their best years ever, but also simultaneously probably released the most shit, just horrible shit ever in the same year. So I don't know, like, if it's a good thing or a bad thing that they've gotten as popular as they are, because now I feel like they feel kind of like they have to put out stuff like every month, just tons of stuff, and it's like you can tell
too much, yeah, too much, man.
The quality of it is just awful now.
And how many partner labels do you really need to? Like, that's confusing.
They got to be making it, because I'll guarantee you somebody knows they got some sort of financial agreement with those companies or something, like to where they fucking, like if they feature them on their site, they'll get like a cut of it or something like that. So I'm sure they're making a ton of money on Vinegar Syndrome.
I mean, all this stuff is coming directly from Vinegar Syndrome headquarters. I think, right?
Even the partner label stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure exactly how it works, but they must be doing really well as far, like, just money-wise. Like, I mean, if you have all these partner labels paying them, and I think that Vinegar Syndrome is just very good business people, I feel like. You know, for a small little company, I feel like they know how to just do things right. But someone in here brought up, Fun City editions are really good. I'm really happy with their stuff. A lot of the partner label stuff, like the Summer of '84 was a great release. Very, very nice looking release. I think that they're definitely doing some good stuff.
Yeah. Is it, though?
That was probably the weirdest thing with Wes Craven in it ever, was that movie. Like, how did that even come about? I don't know. That's a boring fucking movie, though, man. That is extremely boring. I'll probably never, ever watch that movie again.
I think, who do you think's going to have, if you guys had to predict, who do you think's going to have the best year 2022 for Boutique? Do you think Arrow is still going to have a killer year? I'm hearing some big things out of Vestron this year are very possible. So I'm curious to see kind of how that goes.
I'll tell you who's going to have the best year. Whoever the fuck releases that Nightmare on Elm Street box set is going to have the best year.
I mean, at this point, if they release it, it has to be 4K, right? Like, we're already beyond the Blu-ray thing, correct?
I would assume, yeah.
You would
Would
think.
it be kind of stupid to do Blu-ray now, like, as that big set, and then wait for 4K another, like, 10 years, you know? Like, I feel like if they're going to do it, like, just go all out, get the 4K, and let's just all pay a bunch of money to get it.
Well, if it's Vinegar Syndrome, or not Vinegar, if it's Scream Factory, they're going to release a Blu-ray first of it. I mean,
That would be so silly, though, don't you think?
Okay, if they didn't, how much would the 4K box set of Nightmare on Elm Street be? Scream Factory prices. You're looking at least a $300 box set, I would think.
Yeah, it probably would be. Yeah.
More than likely, though, what they could do is they could release a regular Blu-ray box set and then, like, individually release the 4Ks. And that would piss so many people off. That sounds exactly like something they would do.
You know what I would say? I would say what could be smart is maybe if they release the box set, but, like, let's say 1, 2, and 3 are 4K and blue, and then the other ones are just Blu-ray. Because, I mean, in reality, like, do you really need Freddy's Dead in 4K?
No.
Really. You know, so I'm thinking maybe you release the first 3, maybe 4, but I'm thinking the first 3 would probably be what they could do. Something like that.
Who does, Peter Jackson's working on his horror movie, like remastering, like Bad Taste and Dead Alive and Meet the Feebles.
Yeah.
Who does he choose, I guess, to go? I mean, if you were him, which studio? And I would think it's got to be a boutique studio. Maybe Lionsgate, since they got the Vestron line.
Wasn't Lionsgate Dead Alive or no?
It was. That was the original release, yeah.
Yeah, so I wonder if there's still some ties there.
I think Peter Jackson owns those movies outright now. So I don't know if there might be a distribution deal that he had with Lionsgate that they could. I think if I were him, I would go with Lionsgate. I mean, that would be my pick, just because they're getting their stuff out in stores, and these other companies really aren't.
I mean, if I was going to give it to anybody, I'd probably give it to Arrow just because that would make sense in terms of the packaging and everything they could do with it. If it was in the U.S., I'd probably give it to Synapse. I mean, honestly, Like, I don't think Synapse could release it on the level that they would need, but if you talk about, like, quality-wise, fuck.
Pablo says Jackson's going to go with Well Go.
Then they'll shove a fucking, like, bad taste poster into the middle of the Blu-ray. It'll mess up your case now.
I don't know, man. Listen, Don Coscarelli is so... he loves his stuff so much. I think after this last debacle, I think he is done with Well Go, in my opinion. I
do too. Like,
they screwed this up so bad, and he was really apologetic and pissed about this. And I think that he's going to rethink of where he puts his movies again. And Well Go might be all done with Phantasm. And if they don't have Phantasm, what do they have? What do they have?
I 100% think that
Jack and
shit. that Arrow will get the rights to those movies. Like, I think that'll be the next one that they'll release them.
Well, they did own the rights in UK, right? Didn't they put out that ball set?
They did at one time, yeah.
Well, Adam Beatty's fan said Summer Camp Night Fan 4K. I would love it. Somebody do it.
Dude, could you imagine, though, a box set from Arrow Video of all the Phantasm movies in 4K? How awesome would that be?
I could, yeah.
But yeah, as far as physical media goes, I think it was a solid year overall. I mean, these studios all did a bang-up job with a lot of these releases and all that. And I think 2022, Garrett mentioned, I mean, we were talking about this before, stuff that we know is coming out in 2022. The Hitcher in 4K is coming out finally. Only in the UK, but it's region-free, if anybody doesn't know. 4K discs will play on any 4K player. So you're set. And then I think Arrow's doing the Hellraiser box set in 4K later on this year. Trick or Treat is coming out this year. I'm pretty positive. So there's
Fright Night 2 is rumored that it could.
I think that is coming out. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah,
Martin is coming out this year.
Supposedly, like, although there's a lot of stuff that's supposed to delay that too.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year, and even Vinegar Syndrome. Some of the titles they've already announced are pretty promising. You know, you got Dead Heat, you got what is the Hard Rock Zombies? Like, I mean, that's okay. I think that, you know, they're already announcing some pretty cool ones. But did they already put out their full catalog so you can kind of see exactly what's coming out, or is that just a couple things?
I think it's just a couple of things. They don't release because they probably don't even know.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it's going to be an exciting year. I'm sure there'll be some surprises along the way. I know somebody mentioned here maybe a Madman 4K. That's definitely possible because they never have done the slipcover for Madman, the Blu-ray. Mm-hmm. So that would explain maybe why they haven't done that.
Somebody said Greg Caldwell said Near Dark in 4K this year. That's right. That's another good one. So, you know, we talked about this earlier, but it seems like even Severin has really stepped it up. I feel like in the last year or so, like trying to compete with like Vinegar Syndrome and stuff like that. And as much as we talked about physical media dying out, like I feel like a lot of these boutique labels right now are on like, you know, all systems go. Like I feel like this is a big year for everybody and to kind of take that number one spot because you can tell they're kind of competing with each other. And Scream Factory honestly has to do this Elm Street thing because I feel like in some aspects they're getting kind of burned, you know, by these other companies that are just kind of taking the lead. Like Scream Factory, when they do it, they come out with good titles. But I think just as some hype, the overall presentation, like I feel like they're kind of getting left behind a little bit for a company that I think probably has more money than all these companies. That you figure they'd be pumping out some bigger announcements.
It is weird though because Scream Factory went from like when we were doing the show originally to being like this kind of like hip, cool, kind of underground thing to now being like the main, they look at this kind of like the mainstream, you know, like distributor. And like Vinegar Syndrome and Severin and all these other companies are like the cool, you know, hipster kind of like distributors. Yeah, so I think
like Scream Factory feels like that band you like that got mainstream and now you're kind
exactly,
of liking them and then, you know, then the new punk rock band is like Severin and them. Yeah, it does feel like that, but you know, they are going to release The Howling in 4K, which is cool. They got Alligator coming in 4K, which is cool. I think they have a lot of opportunity to bring some cool 4Ks out. My only concern is, like, I just don't see myself rebuying all this stuff that I've bought throughout the years in 4K. So I've got to be very picky on which ones I get. Like I'll grab something like The Fog if it comes out. I would grab Day of the Dead, but like
Creepshow's coming out this year.
I would probably grab
I would
that.
bet anything.
Even though I really do love the edition that they put out, like I don't.
Yeah, really that's probably like one of my favorites of all time.
You know, and I will probably get it. But
what do you guys think about this? Like, should they have a program where you can buy the disc only, and they can even charge a premium price? Like if you've already, Arrow is doing a lot of the re-releases of the same artwork and everything directly from Arrow. If you wanted the 4K upgrade of Hills Have Eyes or whatever they have out, you can pay an extra $15 or something and do that. Would you be more interested in upgrading that way, or what do you think?
I think the way you said with Arrow, yes. I think the way you said with Scream Factory, I don't know, because because Scream Factory still, in my opinion, I don't like they do the slip cases and sometimes it has the blue bar on the top. It says Blu-ray and DVD. At least with Arrow, it doesn't say anything. It's just a nice artwork. It's a box. You don't know what the hell's inside, right? Like, I'm sure if I had my edition of Hills Has Eyes and the 4K sitting next to each other, it'd be kind of hard to tell which one is which, So that's where I kind of think I would do that for Arrow. I would upgrade for the disc, but I don't think I would do that for Scream. But with Scream Factory is interesting because it's like there's so many titles that I have that are worth big money that I'm just like, man, if I don't toss these, and make something off these, they're going to get re-released.
Yeah,
because Camp is going to come out again, Slumber Party Massacre 2 and 3 is going to come out again. We know it. It's not the last of them, but it's just hard sometimes to let things go. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I've noticed with all these companies too, is that the rights are just like hot potato. Like somebody else gets the rights and like they put out like the new definitive edition that had a definitive edition 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, like I don't trust any of the eBay stuff in terms of how much like that stuff goes for, because like there's just too many people putting shit out now. Like there's just too many companies that get the rights to these and just re-release the same title.
Right, like even look at something like The Thing. The Thing, you would think that because the Blu-ray came from Scream Factory, they'd do the 4K, but no, they didn't do the 4K. But so are those rights gone, or are they going to put out their own 4K? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about Big Trouble in Little China too.
It's up to Disney. Well, if it's up to Disney, it's never coming out.
It's probably never going to be out.
But yeah, as far as physical media goes, anything else you guys wanted to mention? Or I know we were talking about toys and stuff like that on here too. I don't know if you guys had anything.
I had some honorable mentions on that. The only other thing I had for one of my favorite releases of the year was another Arrow, and that was the 4K A True Romance. I just threw this out there because it's a movie I really like a lot, and I'm glad it got such a good treatment. So I threw that one out there as my kind of last one I want to talk about. But I brought out a couple figures actually that just really I really was really excited about this year, and there was a couple that I wasn't sure if it was this year or not, but we can always talk about it. Uncle Bill, did you have any of that kind of stuff?
For figures, to be honest with you, I don't think I bought that many this year. Like maybe
I don't think I did either.
3. Like I think at the most I bought was like 3, which is weird because normally I got into a thing there for a while where I was buying shit constantly related to figures. But I don't know. I guess with all these companies releasing these movies, I got more into the Blu-rays and stuff than anything.
No, I totally agree. I mean, there's still a couple that I haven't gotten. I still haven't gotten that Ghostface yet or whatever from anything. So I don't have any of those. I pre-ordered the Halloween one that's coming with
yeah.
He did buy Dick Damon. I don't know if you want to call that a figure, but
I did pre-order that one with Loomis or whatever from Part 2, and that's not here yet. The Werewolf in London I just saw at the store actually today, and I think it looks super cool. But man, I'm at a point now where it's like I don't have anywhere to house a box like that. It's a big box for that wolf from Werewolf in London. It's really cool, but I just don't have anywhere to put him, so I didn't end up grabbing it. But one of the ones I wanted to showcase, I showed in one of my other videos, is if anybody's a Ninja Turtles fan for the movie, I put this figure on there. This is Danny from the Ninja Turtles movie. Like, who would have ever thought we'd get a freaking Danny Pennington figure, right? Like, who would have ever thought
Not
that
me.
exist?
Danny
Like,
P.
I would have never thought in a million years that we'd get a Danny Pennington figure in my lifetime. So to me, that was just a real cool figure that came out from NECA this year. And it was a very limited one as well. And I know they're also kind of toying right now. They put some images out that they're going to be putting out Kino, which is the Ernie Reyes Jr. from Part 2 in the little pizza outfit or whatever. So he's coming. And I just think that's just another obscure character that I can't believe we're getting a figure for. So I didn't buy a ton of horror stuff this year when it came to figures, but I did buy like some turtle stuff, and I have a couple more I can show as well.
So yeah, I think the one that I can remember the most and kind of marking out for the most was the Quint figure from Jaws. That was this year, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yep.
And I loved that figure. And then they released the Hooper one, which I don't know if you pre-ordered that one or not.
I did, yep.
And then so that one's coming. And like you said, like there's not been a whole heck of a lot. Honestly, there's not been a lot come out either.
I thought
McCready they did.
The Friday the 13th.
That's right, yeah.
Part 7 Jason figure came out. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That one was awesome. Yeah. I thought the McCready figure was awesome. I got it right behind me over there. So, yeah, that was like one of the other ones.
Yeah, I think I saw that one in the store not too long ago. It was pretty cool, too. But, yeah.
One of the another one I'll say, I don't have it with me right now. It's buried away, but they came out with Castle Grayskull this year, which is like a pretty on point replica of the ones that we had as a kid. And I made it a point this year to really try to collect a lot of these new Masters Origins figures, which are basically more articulated versions of what we grew up with. The same style. They look pretty much identical. All the same characters. And it was really my first toy action figure line growing up that I was really into. So I've been buying all those for my son, and he's starting to get into them a little bit. So he's got like the castle. He's got all the vehicles. And so we're collecting those things together. So it's kind of cool. And to have Castle Grayskull again in my collection, even though it's not the OG one. I know Wes, I think, has the OG one still, right?
Yeah, it's back there somewhere.
Yeah, so I had all those as a kid. I had Snake Mountain, all that. So to kind of have a Grayskull back in my collection and to have that come back out again and with the box art very similar, I think that was such a cool release this year as well.
It's weird, though, because with the Masters of the Universe He-Man stuff, there's 2 different lines out right now. There's the is it Revelations line or something?
That's like the new series, yeah.
And there's tons of that. That's everywhere. Nobody's at all it looks like that nobody's ever bought any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But the Origins, the Masters Universal Origins, those seem to sell pretty good.
I can't find them in stores. I have to do everything online because my stores just they don't have any of that. It's like you go there and it's just He-Man and Skeletor. That's it. Did
you hear the story behind Revelations, by the way? I mean, why that's like that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's like another piece of wokeness or something.
Yeah, it's real woke.
Yeah, like I think
it's not even in it.
Now is like a lesbian or something, I think now. No, I'm serious.
I know. It's just, yeah, I don't know. Something about the whole idea of this shit.
Like little kids should be worried about that, right? At all.
Yeah.
I watched the first season and I was like, I'm all set. And I haven't watched the second season or anything like that. And I'm a big He-Man fan, you know. I mean, we watched the cringiest one of all of them and you know, it won us over. So, hold on, I'm looking really quick. So Rob Zilla said Super Shredder was awesome. I had that in my hand to bring out and I wasn't sure if that was 2020, but I love the Super Shredder figure. The Tokar and Razov figures are great too. They're probably some of the best figures I have in my collection. I see Sean said something about Surf Ninjas. I have a Surf Ninjas one sheet I just got. It'll be up on my wall very shortly. Can I show the Chucky figure behind me? In time, I will. Not today, but it'll happen.
All in good time.
I can show you my dick demon.
How about this? Ready? So this is
watch your dick demon there.
This is a box set for Karate Kid. I don't even know if I've opened this yet. Shit, I don't think I did. Let me see if I can open it this way.
I could showcase my mini Michael Myers lamp. I got straight from Sichuan, China.
Oh shit!
Look at you get all the Cobra Kai dudes from the original movie. Who would have thought you'd have a Dutch figure and all that stuff? That was pretty killer.
That's pretty badass. Is that sold out?
Yeah, I think that was
Of course it is.
I think that was like a Comic-Con exclusive. And then look at this one. You got Kreese and Johnny from the Cobra Kai show. And then you open it up. We got Daniel.
So what's the right way to display that? How would you display it?
I don't know, man. It comes with, look at it. It comes with a slip cover.
Of course it does. Yeah.
This slip cover is going for big money. It comes with a Cobra Kai slip. But yeah, I thought those were cool releases. To actually get some Karate Kid figures and stuff back in the swing is always pretty cool for me. So those were a couple I just threw out there that I had access to grab and that I thought were really cool releases this year. But man, once you start going down all these roads, it gets slippery, man.
It's another show. We could do a whole other show on that stuff probably.
You don't want to go down that road.
Yeah. It's Wiener cut off road. You see that meme or something like that? Wiener cut off. Don't want to go down that road now. But we appreciate, I guess that is it for the
we
stream.
were almost on here for 3 hours. I can't even believe it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of stuff to go through. But we appreciate everybody sticking with us. We've had a solid crowd on here all night. And again,
thank you guys.
Thumbs up the video, even Uncle Bill. Tell him, Uncle Bill, thumb it up.
I don't want you to do it. Thumbs down.
Hey, you can't do thumbs down.
That was hurting too many people's feelings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you're not subscribed to Garrett's channel, it's Born2BeRad. And guys, we appreciate y'all sticking with us. And we've got more stuff coming up. I'm putting up throughout the history of Dead Pit some really obscure movie reviews that we have done, Uncle Bill. One of which, do you remember the Booby Hatch? That one is out already.
I don't remember that at all, no.
Yeah, so I'm starting to put up reviews of stuff that there's not reviews of it on YouTube. So I'm like, well, why not? Why can't we just put them up? And then we are going to do that Scream review at some point in the near future, hopefully. Maybe sometime this week.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you guys put that up. I won't watch it until I see it.
Yeah.
What, the booby hatch? Oh, you talking about Scream?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see it this week. That's my goal here.
But we will catch you guys next time at Born2BeRad and, of course, DeadPits.com.
It's still the best shit going.
Give us the thumbs up.
Thank you, guys.
Up your butts.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up, subscribe, and click that bell. Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. DeadPitOnPatreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.